Alrighty, welcome everybody to the How to Sell from Stage webinar. This is going to be an extremely exciting and eye-opening webinar for you all, and I'm really pleased that Ben's going to be sharing all of his 18 years of experience into how to craft, market and deliver really a compelling presentation that not only helps you get your message across but helps you sell something. And I think the thing you'll really love about this webinar is all the techniques Ben's going to share with you are working in Australia right now, selling to an Australian audience. Ben's helped a lot of people, from Dr. John DeMartini to even John Assaraf from The Secret, improve their sales presentations. Even John Assaraf, even though he's been speaking for the last 20, 30 years, he invoked Ben's help when he came here to Australia because the Australian audience is so different. So I also wanted to congratulate you for stepping outside your comfort zone and learning the art, not only of public speaking, but more importantly, how to create a compelling sales presentation, really. So this is going to be perfect for you, whether or not you're a speaker or you're selling one-on-one or you're selling in a boardroom style. It's going to benefit you, definitely. And once you conquer it, the good news is once you get it right and you get the sequence of steps right, there's essentially little or no competition for you, because no one's like you and because not many people know the secrets and strategies that Ben's going to share with you. And my name, by the way, is Cham Tang. I'm one of the co-founders of Authentic Education, and I've seen all the stats in our business, where we spend our marketing dollars, etc. And I can say unequivocally, hands down, nothing works better than doing a presentation. Better than Facebook ads, better than doing website SEO, better than going to the Mind, Body, Spirit Festival or spending hundreds of dollars on placing ads on different magazines. Nothing works better than actually holding a talk and having word of mouth spread and people building that rapport with you. So please get ready to learn something new, be inspired, and stretch your abs from laughing so hard you even forgot you were learning how to sell from stage. Please welcome onto this webinar the Difference Maker mentor, Mr. Benjamin J. Harvey.
Thank you, everybody. Welcome to a webinar for How to Sell from Stage. This is the very first time we have run this via webinar. So whoever's on this call, and I can see you all here, I can see Tracy, Vanessa, Tonya, Stacy, Russ. Hey, Russ! He's dialed in all the way from London. G'day, Russ. We got one, Nick. Hey, Nick, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for the birthday messages. Look, Lynn. No, I can see you all here. You're dialed in from all over the place. So I just want to thank you for being a part of this webinar. I'm going to give you a significant amount of value tonight, really just open up the curtains and let you know what's going on behind the stage when all these presenters are getting up on a platform and really sharing their message and getting incredible results, not just by having people take action, but also by spreading their message and, of course, by getting incredible financial rewards from that as well. So I really want to welcome all of you. I can see we've got people calling in from Africa. We've got someone who, I can definitely know there's someone who's dialed in, Joel, from America. And we've also got some people coming in from London as well. Plus, we've got people from all over Australia. So wherever you are right now, you're in the right place. I hope you're comfortable at home or catching a train home or something. But wherever you are, get comfortable. It's going to be an incredible couple of hours we're going to spend together. Just a little bit of housekeeping to really let you understand how this all works. You can see on your screen, if you've never used GoToWebinar before, you'll see on your screen right now a little control panel. And this control panel generally pops up on the right-hand side, but I just want to make sure you know how to interact with this so you can actually play along with it. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to raise your hand. And what that means is you just click on this button here that's got the up arrow, and just by clicking on that, we'll be able to see whether or not you can hear what I'm doing, whether or not you're tuned into what's going on here. But what I'd like you to do is, that's it, nice one, thanks Jennifer, just raise your hand and really just click on it and just let us know what's going on with all of that. Great, I noticed everyone's doing it, fantastic, thank you. And by the way, Lisa, thanks for your question, by the way. I'm going to be answering a lot of questions at the end of tonight as well. So I noticed that most of you have raised your hand up, so you know how to do that. Just please click on your hand there so I do know. Alison, we haven't seen your hand come up. Ben, we haven't seen your hand come up yet either. Belle, your hand hasn't come up either. So just click your hands up just so we can know. Irvin, your hand hasn't come up. But that's cool. If you're on an iPhone or whatever, that's fine. Maybe your hand can't come up. But just, you understand what's going on. I'm going to drop all the hands now just so you know that we can interact here. The other thing I want you to know about this webinar tonight is going to be very, very interactive. We're going to be polling the audience. We're going to be showing you what sort of people are online, what our biggest problems are, where we get stuck when we're presenting or wanting to share a message from stage. So we're really going to be having a lot of interaction tonight. So just set the intention that you're going to interact quite a lot. We're going to be polling you and getting you to really tune in and stay totally focused and present as to what it is that you'd like to be working on and why you've decided to sit here tonight with us. So, welcome, welcome. I'm going to drop all your hands now. Thanks for everybody who's raised their hand. And let's really get into what we're going to be covering tonight. So tonight is all about how to sell from stage. And for those of you who haven't ever met me before, I have had the good fortune of working with some of the greatest speakers on the planet. When I was coming up through the industry, I did spend a lot of time studying and working and assisting the likes of Chris Howard, and I've worked with John Assaraf and John D. Martini and Mike Koenig, Lisa Sasevich, Ari Galper. I mean, the list really does go on. And what I've discovered is that the way you sell from stage in Australia is significantly different to other countries, just because of the way our culture is and because of the way we like to receive a message. And as Cham pointed out, I will be sharing with you tonight the best way to interact with an Australian audience so that you do get your results. Obviously, these techniques will work overseas. They'll work significantly well overseas. But I do want to just show you some systems of how to really get a result right here in Australia, as I am an Australian and I've done business in Australia for many, many, many years. Now, before we go any further, though, I do need to know who is online. So if you've never attended an interactive webinar before, get ready, because I'm going to actually launch the very first poll. Now, a poll is simply going to find out exactly how to find out who's actually online. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to launch this poll, and I want you to just click on the one that most describes who you are. So what I would like you to do is I'd like you to click on this poll, and all you got to do is just click on one of these things. So which of these best describes you? I am a professional speaker. I get paid to talk. I'm a coach consultant looking to leverage my time. I want to start a speaking business. I want more confidence presenting to small rooms. I want to share my message with the world. Now, which one of these really sort of resonates most with you, as in who do we actually have here online? I'm just going to leave this poll open for about another 10 seconds or so, but I'd just like to know who's online, and also you'll be able to find out who's online too. That way we get a bit more of an understanding about who's tuned in to tonight's conversation that we're having together. So all you need to do is click on the screen. We're going to be doing a couple of these polls throughout the night just so we can really find out more information about who you are and really get more value for you as well, so that you can really interact. We've noticed that there's about 73% of people have voted so far. I'm going to leave it open for about another 7 seconds. You've got to click on the screen quickly, ladies and gentlemen. You've got to click on the screen quickly because you've got 3 seconds to go. You can click quick, and I'm just going to close it off because that's all the time we have for this poll. I'm just going to share it with you so you can actually see what's going on here and how it's all connecting and the like. So as you can see here from the poll, it absolutely looks like we've got 48% of people are coaches and wanting to leverage their time, and really a lot more people just want to sort of leverage their time with what's going on. Now, it looks like my screen has done something very bizarre, and it's actually, for some reason, it's not picking up on my monitor, which is quite annoying, team. So what I'm going to do is just hang in there. I'm just going to basically do something very, very quickly here to work out. This is what happens with webinars, team, when you're playing with live audiences, and sometimes your screen goes a little bit funky, but it's okay. I've worked it out, ladies and gentlemen, and we're back on track. So I'm just going to share my screen with you. So welcome back. Thank goodness for that. For those of you who've ever run a webinar before, you will know that I just went through one of the scariest moments of my life. I didn't think I would work out how to get the screen back on. Anyway, so we do know who's here and who's tuned in. We're clearly aware of the types of people. We've got a lot of coaches and consultants online wanting to leverage their time. We've got a lot of people out there that want to share their message with the world. And there's some people that just want some more confidence. So we are clear. Just to show you where we're heading tonight, I'm going to be showing you a very simple 5-step formula called the PRO formula, which is going to allow you to really get your presentation designed correctly so that it does sell your message, whether that be for money or for people taking action. We're also going to be showing you the 3 questions that you absolutely must answer with any audience. We're also going to be going you through the 3 phases of crafting, so exactly how to put together a presentation from start to finish. I'm going to show you each one of these phases and each one of the steps in correct order. We're also going to be talking to you about the 5 boundary conditions of a blocked mind and how to overcome those in your audience members, because that's very important to move through those. We're going to show you how to accelerate your message as well so that you can actually get a very significantly beneficial result for everybody out there and really move from small rooms into rooms of this size in a very short period of time. In fact, I've had the good fortune of actual speaking for myself. I've been coaching speakers for about 6 years now, but speaking for myself has only been about 2.5 years, and it's not uncommon for me now to speak in front of rooms of 500, 600, 700, even 1,000 people. And so I'm going to show you how to accelerate so you can get the similar results in your life too. I'm going to talk to you a lot about the 2 different tracks of communication that people may or may not be aware of when they're sitting inside the audience. And I'm also going to be showing you the 5 core problems that people face. In fact, we're probably going to just start off there. But a little bit of housekeeping. My advice is that you have a glass of water with you, have yourself a pen and a piece of paper, and really interact with the content, because it's going to be jam-packed full of value, and I want you to really get the most out of it. In fact, my intention and desire is that tonight you really get everything you need to learn how to present like a pro. You really have the skills and the ability to go out there and share your gifts, share your message confidently, but within a structure that really makes sense to the audience members that you're flowing through. So let's get right into it. Let's not waste any more time, and let's get straight into the information. Now, here are 5 core problems that people face when they are really wanting to get their message out to the world and really wanting to share at the deepest level. And as I said, I'm going to go through exactly how to craft a talk in just a moment, but let's have a look at the problems that you may or may not be facing. Now, the very first problem that people come up against is this concept of having a truly unrealistic fear of speaking. Now, I don't know what it is or what happened or what went wrong along the way, but for some reason we developed this belief that public speaking was the greatest fear on the planet. Now, that is actually a complete load of bollocks. Whoever told you that doesn't know what they're speaking about. Public speaking is not the #1 fear on the planet. Change is the #1 fear on the planet. So the #1 fear that a human species don't mind me, I'm talking scientific. The #1 fear that a human being has is change. Our nervous system doesn't like change. In fact, it can only really deal with fluctuations of around 10%. So what we don't like most of all is change. It's not public speaking. It's not building a new business. It's not trying out a new outfit. It's just change in and of itself. So my advice is start to really understand fear before you start to pretend that you've got them. Because people who have unrealistic fears of speaking don't quite understand what they're actually afraid of. And when it comes to fear and comes to speaking and having a fear of speaking, one of the core things that you need to understand is what the biggest fear is that you have elevated someone in the audience. So if you're ever afraid of getting up in front of an audience and saying something to them, the fear comes because someone in that audience, you've given your power to them, you've given your authority to them. So what I do with speakers when I'm training them is I get them to look for who it is in the crowd. Maybe it's a brother-in-law, maybe it's an old boss, maybe it's a mentor of theirs, or maybe it's someone that they idolize. Whoever that person is in the audience, the best thing you can do is you can focus on them and then do what's called negging them out. Negging them out is where you look at them and you think of all the negatives about them. Maybe you don't like their hair color, maybe you don't like the color of their suit, maybe you don't like the look or whatever it is. You come up with as many negatives in your head as you can about that person, and what you'll do is you'll equilibrate them back inside your mind. So negging is a great way to equilibrate the audience members and remove your fear. So I just want to clarify that right off the bat. The majority of people out there are not afraid of speaking. They're afraid of who is actually going to be in the audience. And once you've identified that, you can move on. I remember once I had my brother. He's my elder brother. He rocked up to a speaking event. Now, we'd spent about $25,000 on marketing. We'd got 123 people in the room. This is a while back at the Wesley Centre here in Sydney. And I was presenting information around how to sell services. And my brother was in the audience for the very first time, and I didn't realize the catastrophic impact having my brother in the audience was going to be. I had somehow elevated him and put him on a pedestal. And just imagine this. You're inside this brand new center. You've got the speaker system, there's curtains and the stage, and it all looks fantastic, and you're sharing your message with the world. The only problem is, the moment I realized my brother was in the audience, I started to talk about him and to him. 45 minutes later, I had finished a repertoire of experience that we'd had together that had absolutely no relevance to the topic I was talking about, no benefit to the audience. But it was kind of like a love letter I wanted to write to my brother. I just happened to do it in front of 123 120-something people because I hadn't negged him out. I hadn't equilibrated him. I was still his little brother, and as a result, I couldn't speak the way I wanted to speak. I couldn't be authentic. Cut a long story short, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, at the end, when I offered my products and services, because I was obviously speaking to sell, I was speaking to give value and obviously to offer some services as well. And at the end, when I offered my services, out of those 120-plus people, 3 people purchased, which is a really appalling result for someone of my skills. So needless to say, we lost a lot of money. We learned a great lesson, and my business partner, Cham, has since banned my brother from coming to any of my events ever again. So just be aware, your unrealistic fear comes from the people in the audience. It doesn't come from anything else. So if you can work out who you've elevated, it's a great way to move forward from that perspective. By the way, I should mention right off the bat, we've got a very short period of time together tonight, and so at the end of tonight I will mention a specific program that we offer that assists speakers, keynote speakers and trainers from all over the world to improve their presentations, to create presentations from scratch and really go out there and make a business out of sharing their message. So we'll mention that a little bit later on. I don't want to surprise you thinking that's not coming. So towards the end of the night, I will mention, I'll spend a couple of minutes just sharing with you some ideas that we have around that. At the end of tonight, I'm also going to be sharing with you one last surprise. Just because you're on a webinar, we always like to give you a few little surprises at the very end. So the second one is an unstructured speech. Now, what the problem with an unstructured speech is that, first of all, if you haven't met me before, I am heavily dyslexic, and I do not spell things the same way that you would like to spell. So if you see something on this screen that does not match the same way that you typically spell it, I'd like you to be reminded of what Mark Twain said. He said, it takes a highly intelligent man, or person for that matter, to spell a word multiple ways. And I tend to spell my words multiple ways, ladies and gentlemen, so hang in there. So what if the pattern of your spelling doesn't match what's on the screen, you can just relax and surrender because they're just letters on a page. Now, unstructured speech design basically means that people aren't willing to structure their speech. They're not willing to have a clear structure of how to communicate to an audience. A lot of people think that they just get up there and intuitively wing it. And I'm here to tell you, intuitively winging things doesn't work. Even the most intuitive speakers on the planet have a clear structure of what they're going to allow their intuition to flow through. I'm going to say that again. Even the most intuitive speakers on the planet have a clear structure of which they would like their intuition to flow through. Now, I used to hang out quite a lot in the spiritual market and really in that esoteric realm, and where people are free-flowing and very connected. And I used to see a lot of speakers get up on stage and say, I haven't really prepared much. I'm just going to allow it to come through me. Even those speakers, I have to let you know, they have a structure. I've worked behind the scenes with a lot of them, and I have to let you know they absolutely do have a structure that they allow the intuition to flow through. So unstructured speech design is absolutely a core problem that people face. The next one that people face is this concept of a lack of professional practice, and I want you to be writing these down, a lack of professional practice. And what I mean by that is people think it's beneath them to really want to go out there and practice. They think they've done it all before or seen it all before, and as a result, they're just not willing to practice and put the yards in. A great quote I was once told when I was getting my speaking career up and running was that amateurs practice until they get it right. Professionals practice until they can't get it wrong. So amateurs practice until they get it right. Professionals practice until they can't get it wrong. So you've just got to make a decision. What are you? Are you an amateur or are you a professional? Because as I said, professionals continue to practice until they get that right. And it's really important to understand this concept. Never be too good for practicing. It's really, really important that you do allow yourself to practice. Now, the next one is a key point that you really must be aware of, a critically key point. And this point is a concept of over-delivery of value. Now, I've said this correctly, over-delivery of value. Over-delivery of value says that you come and see me for a 3-hour evening, and I give you too much value that, A, first of all, you're probably not going to act on because I've over-delivered. And B, you get a sense of believing that you have everything you need, so you don't need any more. So a lot of people go to 2-hour evenings, and I know a lot of people are online right now wanting to communicate to rooms full of people and make sales from that. And the toughest of all of that is a 2-hour keynote, a 2-hour or a 90-minute speak to sell, as we call it. Now, a lot of people have a problem in those 90-minute conversations, or even if I had an audience for a whole day, you can really run the risk of over-delivery of value, giving them way too much information. And there is a tipping point inside the consumer's mind where they feel they have enough to make it work. Now, you and I both know, having gone to, I don't know, well, actually, I don't know about you, but I've gone to hundreds of evening events, hundreds of one-day events, and quite often I've left those events believing I was bulletproof, believing that I had every single, excuse me, single thing I needed to take action and move forward. 2 weeks later after the event, though, nothing has changed. So it's very important to make sure you don't over-deliver the value when you're communicating. Give information, but only give like the first layer of that information, because if you go too deep into concepts with people, first of all, it's too much information to take at once, and second of all, they'll have a false belief that they're actually able to do what you're saying in such a short period of time. Now, this doesn't discredit the action takers. There's actually 1% of every audience will go out and do everything you say, and we call those the 1%ers. In fact, what I'd like you to do is just write down on your notepad somewhere, I am a 1%er. I just want you to write that down in big, bold writing. I am a 1%er. Now, 1%er means that when I give you an idea tonight, you're going to take it on and you're going to do it. When I show you a strategy tonight of how to make money and share your message, you're going to take it on and you're going to do it. You have to be a 1%er if you're going to be successful in life. But the sad truth is, as speakers on this webinar with me tonight, you need to know that 99% of your audience are not going to take action on the information, which means it's your duty to get them into longer services, longer products, maybe even training programs, or more supportive environments where you can really ensure that they get that message. Because once you take out that 1% of people who absolutely act, you've still got 99% of people that are wanting more support, and you can support them through your products and or services. Now, the last one is unable to create desirable offers. And this really is important. I've seen many, many speakers come out from all over the world, and when I see the offer they're offering to the marketplace, I realize that this offer is just, it's not inspiring. Like I look at the offer, I'm like, man, I don't know how bored I would have to be to want to buy that product from you. So you need to create offers that are desirable. So when we create our offers at our company, we sit down and we come into an inspired place. So Cham and I will get into a place of inspiration. We'll feel the energy of inspiration. And then what we do is we step out of our own body and we step, I know this sounds very weird, but we step into our customers' awareness. We walk in their shoes and we sit down, we start to feel their pain, feel their problems, feel what their heart desires. And as a result of that, we start to allow the offer to form itself. And we're always checking in to see, is this offer desirable and inspiring? And more importantly, does it legitimately solve the problems that they have? So if I was creating a speaking offer, for example, I'd be looking at the legitimate problems people have. You know, they have problems with confidence, they have problems with structure, they have problems with knowing what to say and how to say it, they have problems with, how to create an offer. So I would want to make sure that the product that I'm going to offer them satisfies all of those. So make sure that you're aware of these 5 core problems, because they will show up and they will definitely slow you down. And in just one moment, I am actually going to go through and show you the 5-step pro formula. But let's just poll the audience and find out which one of these problems most affects you. So let's just find out. I'm just going to put up on the screen there. I'm just going to give you a couple of moments just to answer the question. Just click on which one of these you feel is most holding you back. Now, you can sit there and go, well, Ben, none of them are. But here's the thing. If you're on this webinar, there's a reason for it. So just click on which one is most affecting you right now. Is it the unrealistic fear of speaking? Is it the unstructured speech design? What is it? And just be quick on the screen, because we can't have these polls up for too long. But as you're clicking on the screen, I want you to really be aware that until you deal with these problems, they're going to all show up as one thing. And what they're going to show up as is this thing called resistance. And you might want to write this down. Problems show up as resistance. Problems show up as resistance. Problems show up as resistance. So make sure you're aware of this, because if you can't highlight which one of these problems you have, chances are you've got a lot of resistance to speaking, and this is really what's going to slow you down. Now, I notice that 83% of people have voted, so you've got a couple more seconds just to click on which one most relates to you. Thank you for doing that. We're just going to launch the poll. I'm just going to close it off now, so if you missed out, you snooze, you lose. I'm just going to share that with you so you can see what's going on here from an audience perspective, and really see the types of people that so we've got 13% unrealistic fear. It looks like, that's fascinating, it looks like 27%, that the large majority of you would say that your number one problem is unable to create desirable offers. I wouldn't have expected that, actually. This is quite fascinating. And just to put in perspective, we've got about 140 people online right now. So from 140 people from all over the world, we can clearly see that about 30%, one-third of you are struggling with this concept of a desirable offer. And this is good for me to know, because now I can know where we can take this webinar tonight. And obviously the rest of you fall into all the different categories. It's quite a sort of an even mix around unstructured speech and over-delivery of value as well. So thank you all for participating with that, just so we can get an understanding of who's online and who's playing along. So we need to move on to the next phase, and this really is the pro formula. And really, all pros use a formula. I want you to write this down somewhere on your notepad. All pros use a formula. All pros use a formula. Just make sure you do interact and write these things down. All pros use a formula. Great, so let's have a look at the formula that I have discovered. Now, for those of you who don't know what I spend my time doing, I sat down once and I wanted to become exquisite at speaking, so I made a decision to start analyzing and looking at speakers. And I got through 157 speakers. I sat down, I watched their talks, I analyzed what they were doing, and I trimmed those 157 speakers down to 20. And from those 20, I broke down their entire presentations, and I watched every single thing they did in those presentations, and I got down to 3 speakers that I believe were getting the most phenomenal results on the planet. And I found that these 3 speakers all had certain things in common. They're all using very specific technologies that were allowing them to get incredible results, inspire people beyond measure, and really get people to take action on ideas and services. And this really, so what you're looking at is years of research. This is about 5.5 years of my life I've dedicated to this research to really share this information with you tonight. So I really hope you gain value out of it and really enjoy it. So the pro formula, the very first stage is to orchestrate your outcome. So what a lot of people don't realize out there is if I'm creating a presentation of any description, I need to begin with the end in mind. So I need to really get clarity on what my outcome is. And it's very important to understand that concept because, and technically we understand, it's called reverse engineering. It's not a new concept, right? This is not something brand new and earth-shattering. You know, Jim Rohn always used to say, beware of freshly made antiques, because there's nothing really new on this planet. There's just a better analysis and discovery within what we're doing to refine processes over time. So begin with the end in mind. If you're going to get up to present, you've got to ask yourself, at the very end of my talk, what specific action do I want them to take? I'll repeat that. At the very end of my talk, what specific action do I want them to take? Well, actually, I've just noticed, by the way, if you haven't worked out, that's my photo down there at the bottom. So the reason I put that there is just simply so you can tune in to me and tune into who you're talking to and feel like there's a little bit of connection there. I just totally forgot to mention that to you, but there's my photo there so you can just become aware that it's me. Anyway, let's continue back into it. So, as I said, the thing that is most that most lets people down is they don't begin with the end in mind. So at the very end of your talk, I want you to clearly determine the action. And what I would like you to do is I'd like you to write that down now. Now I'll give you some examples of actions. Actions might be go and call a friend. So connect with someone. Actions might be sit down and have a chat with your partner. Actions might be vote for this specific idea. Actions might be get up and go up the back and sign up. Actions might be, tomorrow when you wake up, I'd like you to meditate for 10 minutes. Actions might be, for the next 30 days, I want you to eat vegetables and drink 7 liters of water. So what action would you specifically like your audience to take at the very end of your talk? And this is where we have to begin. Because when it comes to speaking from a platform, there is no spare room. I'm going to repeat that. There is no spare room. And really, if the content doesn't fit, you must acquit. If the content doesn't fit, you must acquit. Now, you and I now know that all pros use a formula, so it's very important to understand that this is the very first step. Hopefully, right now, you are looking at a specific action that we are now going to reverse engineer. So let's say, for example, that your action was that the audience gets up, walks up the back, and signs up for a training program. So the action is I want you to stand up, head up the back, and sign up for a program. So the action clearly must now be all about what that program is. So if I was selling a program around how to find your purpose in life, then, and that's what I want you to do, my action is that you get up and sign up for a program about finding your purpose, then everything I do in my talk must be designed to help you take that action. It's very important to get this. And once you understand this fundamental thing about speaking, you'll be well on your way to truly sharing your message with the world. As I said, it doesn't always have to end in money, the action, but you have to be clear on what that action is, otherwise you can't write the talk. All right, so the next thing you need to do is craft your presentation. So once you've worked out what your action is, I want you to stand up and head to the back of the room. I want you to click on this link and sign up for this program. Whatever it is, now that you're clear on that, now you can craft your presentation. And really your presentation has a number of different phases, which I'm going to be covering with you in a moment and going through that. The next thing is you want to embody your message. And what I mean by that is get your message into your body at a deep, deep memory level. Memory lesson. Professional speakers really do have exquisite memories. Gone are the days of using a lectern, gone are the days of using notes, gone are the days of hiding copious amounts of information inside your PowerPoint presentation. In fact, I always say to people that if you can't present without a PowerPoint, you haven't learned how to present. If you can't present without a PowerPoint, you haven't learned how to present. Some days, just for fun, I will do entire presentations with just a very simple holding slide. Now, if you don't know what a holding slide is, I'm just going to show you an example of that. It's up on your screen now. This is a holding slide that you're looking at coming up now on your screen. So some days I will just have this on the screen and I'll just talk for 2, 3, 4 hours without referencing any materials or any notes. And this really just allows me to stay sharp. For those of you who've seen me present in front of large rooms, I do use a lot of PowerPoint imagery to inspire the audience, but it's not actually essential. So every now and then, about every sort of 3 to 6 months, I like to just do one presentation with no slides, no notes, no nothing, just to ensure that I'm never losing the craft. Because you really do need to understand how to speak from memory. So you must work on your memory. At a program we run, we teach 3 fundamental different memory strategies, and you can just Google around and learn different memory techniques. There are photographic memory techniques, there are acronym memory techniques, there is mental pegging techniques. I mean, there's as many memory techniques as you could want to find. My advice is find the one that resonates most with you. If you're a highly visual person, then try and remember your talk in cartoons. If you're a highly analytical person, then try and remember your talk using acronyms or letters or numbers. If you really feel the talk, then try and base it on the energy that you'll feel as you come into each space. Or a lot of kinesthetic people will memorize their talk by the body movements they'll do around the stage. So there's a lot of different ways you can memorize your talk. My advice is learn to master that, so that you can actually go out and present a 7-day speech without having any notes required. Remembering a couple of things just off the cuff isn't going to cut it. You need to really be able to nail talk start to finish, because nothing is worse, ladies and gentlemen, than relying on PowerPoint and notes and rocking up to a speech in a foreign country only to realize that your laptop is broken, the projector bulb is blown, and your notes have been left at the airport. Because if you've relied on them, you are now absolutely useless. There's nothing you can do. So that you'll get up on stage and you're just going to present like an absolute amateur, and unfortunately no one will ever have you back. So my advice is put your faith in your memory, learn how to harness it, learn how to master it, and keep training it non-stop. I train my memory every day. I'm always giving my memory little tasks to keep in tune with what I'm doing. The next thing is you need to learn how to own the stage. A lot of people think that you should master stage work at the beginning. That's a load of rubbish. You should master your outcome at the beginning, learn how to craft correctly, learn how to memorize your message, and then once you've done all that, own the stage. There's some different ways of standing on a stage, and I'm not interested in teaching people specific movements. I know there's some movements out there called satir categories where you can emphasize points by certain body movements. The way that I love to train speakers is that they just be authentic. If the body wants to do something, they flow with the movement. I mean, you've been speaking for a very, very, very long time. You know how your body likes to enunciate things. What I like to do is allow people to remove unnecessary movements. In fact, a dear friend of mine once said that grace is the ability to remove all unnecessary movements. Grace is the ability to remove all unnecessary movements. And I thought that was, kind of poetic. And I really think about that when I'm speaking. What movements are unnecessary? It's not about giving you specific movements to use. It's about removing unnecessary movements and allowing your body to naturally flow with how the conversation and communication wants to come out. So write this down somewhere in your notes. The best speakers are the authentic ones. The best speakers are the authentic ones. The best speakers are the authentic ones. Make sure you write that down somewhere. Because there's nothing worse than seeing speakers that are robotized. They're robotic in their movements. They're robotic in how they do what they do. And it really just has this inauthentic appeal to it. And you can see that they've practiced hand gestures and they've practiced stepping on certain parts of the stage. It all just feels really, it's not authentic enough to do that. I'm a big fan of using the stage to get a message across. But what I'm not a big fan of is not being myself. It's really important to just truly embody who you truly are on a platform, because anything that happens on a platform gets amplified by the number of people perceiving it. I'll say that again. Anything you do on a platform gets amplified by the number of people perceiving it. So you really must allow yourself to be as authentic as possible. Now, the last thing you need to do as a speaker, keeping in mind that all pros use a formula, is that you need to master the business model. There is a very specific model that speakers use to get the results they're looking for. And if you haven't, if you're not in the know, the speakers out there are some of the highest paid professionals in the world. It's not uncommon for very proficient speakers to have six-figure days. And what I mean by that is to earn over $100,000 in a single day. And now if this really boggles your mind, I think really what you need to do is just allow yourself to be open to the concept that people really are making an incredible amount of money from speaking, not just being fulfilled by sharing their message, but obviously getting the reward of appreciation in the form of money for that. So speaking is a very lucrative career if you get it correct. And for me, I think it's one of the most fulfilling things you can do, inspiring rooms full of people to change their ideas, to make a difference, to change the way they communicate, connect. For me, I don't believe there's anything more fulfilling on this planet than inspiring groups of people to really make incredible positive changes in their life. So these are the 5 areas. What I'd like you to do is I want you to now, just very, very quickly, I want you to score yourself out of 10 in each area. So very, very quickly, in front of you on a piece of paper, I want you to write down your score out of 10 for each one of these areas. So orchestrate your outcome. Out of 10, how good are you at orchestrating your outcome? 0 if you don't even know what that means. 5 if you do it occasionally. 10 if you do it every single time. Crafting your presentation. Out of 10, how good are you at systematically crafting a presentation? And then embodying your message. Do you have great, exquisite memory techniques? Can you remember days of content? Owning the stage. Do you know how to use your body? Do you know how to communicate authentically, how to drive a point, how to use tonality, how to use height and ranges? So out of 10, how good are you at that? And the last one is mastering the business. Are you any good at mastering your business model? So I want you to add up those scores. It's going to be out of 50. I want you to write it down, do it as quickly as you can, add up those scores, and once you've added up your score, I want you to plug in your score into this poll that's going to be on your screen now. So just once you've added up your score out of 50, I want you to go ahead and click in what your score is for your pro formula. And just, as I said, adding it up, you're just looking for each one of those areas, orchestrate your outcome, craft your presentation, embody your message, own the stage, master the business model. Out of those 5 areas, what do you rank yourself? What do, how well do you do? What do you like? So just so we can get a feel of the people on the call and where you all sit. Based on what I can see coming through right now, the scores are quite high. We've had about 65% of people vote, so please just add your scores up as quick as you can. And as you're looking there on the screen, if you've already added it up, look down and just look at where your opportunity lies. Because it's not about beating yourself up. It's about being, having clarity around where you can actually go and where you can make improvements and what you can really do with that. And I'm just going to close that up now. Thank you, everybody, for jumping on, and I'm just going to share that with you so you can have a look at what's going on here. So it looks like 40% or so sit somewhere between 20 to 30 in their scores, and then we've got it spread each way. And it's about 4% actually coming above the 40 range mark. And really, I'm here to tell you, unless you're scoring over 40 in this little test that we've given you, you're not really at a position where you can start to really do this professionally. I mean, even if you scored more than 1, at least you've started, you're doing fantastically well, and you've got incredible opportunity now to strengthen different areas. But the reason we do this little poll here is just to show you where you can start strengthening. You may have found that, Ben, for me it's crafting my presentation, that's really where I've got to strengthen. Or for me it's embodying the message, that's really where I've got to strengthen. So at least we now know where we can work from. And what I'd like you to do, just while you're sitting there, is reach your right hand out in front of you. So just reach your right hand out in front of you. Like, play along. I can see you guys, so please do it. I can't really see you. I don't have hidden cameras in your house. But just reach your right hand out in front of you. Reach it over your back and just pat yourself on the back and say, I'm a speaking legend. I'm a speaking legend. You are a speaking legend. Whatever your score is, feel good about it. Too many people are beating themselves up. They're coming off stage and saying how terrible their talks were, and you know that these people aren't going to last in the industry. The best speakers on the planet, no matter how bad their talk goes, they always find the improvements, find what was good, and make it better next time round. Because the beauty of speaking is it's an art form. It evolves over time. It really is an incredible evolution of skill and mastery. And this is why I love speaking, because you're never going to perfect the art. I mean, it's impossible. You're never going to get the fullest range of emotion into your communication, the best storytelling tonality. I mean, it's never ending. It's such a beautiful art form. So just be inspired to want to get better and better and better. And as I said, just to really reinforce what we're doing here is, just before we go any further, I really want you to really get this. I'm going to put a whole big screen up. Outcome is the beginning, ladies and gentlemen. Outcome is the beginning. All pros use a formula, and their formula is to begin with the outcome. All right, so what we need to do is we need to really work out, what is your heart's vision? So what sort of vision do you have for sharing? What sort of message, what sort of blessing would you like to share with the world? So just think to yourself, what is it? You know, there's a reason that I gave up my time. And by the way, I just want to thank you all for dialing in here. I know it takes a lot of commitment, it takes a lot of focus, it takes a lot of determination to tune into a webinar and to really want to inspire the world and share your message. And I think it takes a lot of courage as well. So I just want to take a little bit of time out and just honor you for being online, because it means you're committed. You know, there's hundreds of people that could be online. As I said, there's only about 140, 150 people that dialed in. So you guys are the 1%ers. You are the lucky few that are determined to make a go of your life, to live an incredibly inspired, fulfilling life. And I believe there's nothing more inspiring than speaking and really sharing your message with as many people as possible. I think that's what we're all born to do. I think that's what we were designed to do, to create and contribute through our message, through our products, through our services. So I just want to thank you for dialing in and really being alert and tuning in. So just tune in now to what your heart desires most. Like, what does it want? What does it actually want to get out of it? And as you're thinking about that, what I'd like you to do is just answer this question. I just want you to write down somewhere on a piece of paper, what are 3 problems or gaps that brought you here? So what are 3 problems or gaps, reasons why you showed up to this webinar? So what was it? Was it, you know, what inspired you to dial in and want to talk to people? Like, what inspired you to want to wake up in the morning and go to a room full of people and speak? Whether it's a small boardroom of, say, 4 people in an office, or whether it's 20 people at a local meetup, or whether it's 1,000 people in a stadium by a professional promoter. You know, what is it about presenting or selling your message from a stage that brought you here? And just write down a couple of things. I'm just going to give you a couple of moments there. But just 3 problems or gaps that inspired you to be here on this webinar. And as you're doing that, I want you to understand why I'm doing this, because I want you to understand exactly what I'm getting you to do right now. What I'm getting you to do is reinforce the reasons behind why you're here. And this is a very important thing to learn about speaking and presenting. The same reason your audience members show up is the same reason they will buy. I'll repeat that. The same reason your audience members show up to see you speak is the exact same reason they're going to buy. Now, it seems like quite common sense, but so many people miss that. In fact, I want you to write that down. Once you've written down the reasons why you're here, just write down somewhere, the same reason they came is the same reason they'll buy. The same reason they came is the same reason they'll buy. Now, this is a very fundamental understanding you need to get. So if someone gets in their car and drives all the way out to see you, you need to find the reason why they got in the car. Because once you know the reason they got in the car to see you, that's the reason that's going to inspire them to either take action on your idea, to eat salads, to spend money, to sign up for your coaching, whatever it's going to be. And your job as a speaker is to identify that reason as rapidly as possible. So as you're writing down why you are here, you are in fact identifying the reasons why you're on this call, which means you're more inspired to tune in to the whole webinar and sit here and really pay attention and get the learning. So make sure you get your audience to discover the reasons why they showed up. This is critical. This is a very fundamental thing to understand. All right, so next thing that we've got to work out is there are 3 questions to answer. Now, if you've gone to any formal, formal type of training for speaking, and I've got no qualms with any of the speaking companies out there, there is, however, some companies out there that will tell you that your audience members have 3 fundamental questions you must answer. The first one is, who are you? As in, they sit in the audience thinking, who are you? The second one is, what do you do? And the third one is, why should I care? Now, this is what we've been trained in all of these fundamental training academies as to what the audience is thinking about. But I'm here to tell you that the audience members aren't thinking that at all. They really don't care who you are. They really don't care what you do. And they really don't care about why they should care. Let me tell you the 3 questions that they are actually asking themselves. And if you can answer these 3 questions, you really are going to allow yourself to sit in an incredible position to position your message out to the marketplace so people respond. The very first question they're going to ask themselves when they sit in that audience, and I'm not kidding you, this is the very first question they're going to ask. They're going to think to themselves, does this person have superpowers? As in, do you have a superpower that I simply don't have right now that I can glean from you? That's why we show up to presentations. We are looking for a superpower. Now, you can giggle and smile all you want, but I'm here to tell you this is exactly what they're thinking. The second thing they're asking themselves is, does your superpower work on me? Think about it. This is why they're coming to see you talk. When you get out of bed and you get in your car and you drive out to see somebody, whether it's for a healing, a business, a stock market, a real estate, whatever reason you're going to see a cause, you're truly, in your heart, you're hoping that this person has some unique new superpower that you haven't heard of and that it's going to work on you. And the last thing they're going to ask themselves is, will I get what I want most from you? Will I get what I want most in life from you? If you can answer these 3 questions during your presentation, you are well on your way to being a successful speaker. So you need to identify what your superpowers are, or what the world sees as your strongest traits, what the world sees as the energy or the emotion that you can transfer most effortlessly. And that's what they're going to come to you for. People come to you for your strong traits, aka your superpowers. So let's have a look. I want to just show you now the 3 phases of crafting a presentation so you can actually get an understanding of how best to put together a presentation and really how to formulate one. So you're going to have to write very, very quickly in order to get this down pat. So the very first thing you need to do with your audience is you need to connect. So connecting really is the first phase of crafting a presentation. So when you get up on the stage, you need to connect with your audience. I want you to set this as an intention and really be clear on this. You must connect with your audience members. If you don't take the time to make that connection, then everything else you do is a complete waste of time. And the type of, excuse me, I've got hiccups. The type of connection that you really want to make is a connection of trust. That's really what you're looking to do. You want to connect with your audience and build as much trust as possible. I mean, that's what it's all about when it comes to speaking. And here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. We happen to trust the people who are most authentic because we know they're not wearing any masks. I repeat that. We happen to trust the people who are most authentic because we know they're not wearing any masks. So connect, first of all, in the connecting phase, you've got to open up. So you need an opening, some type of opening, maybe an icebreaker, maybe a joke, maybe you tell them something you read in the newspaper, or maybe you chat about a taxi ride you had coming in, or maybe you shock them with some incredibly shocking fact, or maybe you tell them a heartfelt story, but you do have to open up. Then once you've opened up, you've got to move into what's called the big promise. And the big promise is where you say to the audience, here is my promise to you. By the end of this webinar, I absolutely promise to you that you'll understand how to craft a presentation like you've never known before, and I'll show you ways in which to communicate in 2 different tracks, a track of perception and a track of intention, so that you will never, ever again be able to sit through the same presentation without seeing all the tricks that are taking place. That's an example of a big promise. Now, once you've given out your big promise, the next thing you want to share with the audience is what your core message is. Now, the core message of our company is Live Your Love. The reason we exist is to inspire people, truly, to make a difference in an income doing only what they love. We love to playfully empower people. We love to share people information, education, and resources that gives them the internal belief and abilities to do whatever they desire. My mission on this planet, truly, is to live in a place where everyone is just doing what they're inspired to do. I had the good fortune of actually, I went down to the barber shops. If you can picture this, I built this little old school barber shop with that spinning red, white, and blue thing out the front, and it's run by this old European gentleman, and it's the stereotypical barber shop if you've ever seen it. And I was getting my hair cut by a 16-year-old kid 3 days ago, and his name's Julian, and he was there. And the owner of the barbershop, Brian, said, "Hey, Julian, if you won the lotto, $10 million, what would you do with it?" As you can imagine, barbershop people just sit around and chat all day long about everything. Now, Brian is this very, very thick-set European guy, massive unit. He's a bodybuilder. He's very, very big. He's got a shaved head, and he's basically communicating this point to Julian. And Julian's sort of this 16-year-old guy. He's got this brown hair. He's about 5.5 foot tall, and he's wearing his barbershop coat. And we're all sitting there having this chat, just like you see in the movies, I guess. And anyway, cut a long story short, Julian gives the most incredible response. This 16-year-old kid says to him, he says, "Brian, if I was to win $10 million in the lotto, I would simply put it away and keep doing what I'm doing because I love my job. And if I was to quit my job, I would be bored." Now, I nearly fell off my chair. I couldn't believe the wisdom coming out of this 16-year-old kid's mouth. I couldn't believe it. Now, there was another person in the barbershop. He said, "Well, I'd quit my job and I'd travel overseas and I'd buy all these houses and pay off my debts and all this other stuff." Stereotypical answer. But here's this Julian kid just sitting there saying, no, I'd keep doing this. And that is the world I want to live in. I want to live in a world where people just are inspired to do what they're doing, not because of the money, because they love it. So that's what my message is. That's why we do what we do. But that's an example of how to share your message. I mean, for those of you who know me, this is what we're all about. Once you've shared your message, you need to frame the audience up. We're going to talk about frames a little bit later on in this conversation. But framing really is important. You've got to set the mood and the mindset of the audience so they're in the right frame of mind. And if you want them to get up and sign up or click on a link and register for a program, you need to frame them up and let them know they're doing that. At the beginning of this presentation, I mentioned that I'm going to be talking about a program we have for people who would like to become professional speakers and make money from it. That was a way of framing you up so when we get to that part of the conversation later on tonight, you're not surprised by it. And obviously you're not offended. A lot of people take offense when they're being sold to, and what I've discovered, hands down, the people who get offended by being sold to are often the most unsuccessful people you'll ever meet. So if you ever meet somebody who gets offended by being sold to, when there is a definite need for them, you'll find that they struggle in business and in life because they're not willing to promote their own services and goods and services. It's just something you really need to pay attention to, and it was really drilled into me by my mentors. To really, when someone starts selling a product or service to me, I pull out my notepad and start taking notes. I love being sold to because it allows me to learn how to do it correctly so I can really get my message across to people. In fact, I want you to write this down somewhere before I go any further. Write this down in really big writing. You can't serve without selling. You can't serve without selling. I really want to get this clear. I meet hundreds, thousands of healers that have no clients because they're unwilling to sell. So if you don't sell, you'll never be able to serve. It's very important to get this concept. You can't serve without selling. Whether you're selling your message, your idea, your services, if you don't do that, you'll never be able to serve anybody. So you can't serve without selling. It's a very important lesson to get. So once you've connected with the audience, you need to transition into what we call demonstrate. And you need to demonstrate to the audience what sort of problems you understand them to have. So you need to really understand their problems at the deepest level. It's very important that you realize this and really understand what it is that they've come to you for. And once you've understood their problems at the deepest level, you need to give them a system overview of how you're going to solve those problems. So what you're looking at on your screen right now, this is an example of a system overview. I'm giving you an overview of a systemized way of crafting a presentation. So this is good because it deals in imagery, and it's good because it inspires you to realize that there is a system you can follow. So once I've discovered and explained the problems to the audience that they are likely to have, I like to give them an overview of the type of system that we're going to be following throughout the talk. Then we cover what's called unique educational points. I'm just going to take another sip of water, so don't mind me. I'm just kidding. I made that as noisy as possible just to entertain myself. Sometimes you got to have fun. Well, not sometimes. All the time you got to have fun. So I hope you enjoyed me having a noisy sip of water. So what you got to do is do what's called UEPs, unique educational points. Points of education that are unique to you. Because one great way of positioning yourself as an expert in the industry is to teach someone something they don't know. In fact, as soon as you teach someone something they don't know, they will reposition you in their mind as an expert. So one of the fastest ways to get positioned as an expert is to teach someone something either they don't know or they haven't heard that way before. And that's what we call unique educational points. The next thing you want to demonstrate is your mystique, as in what makes you different. And you need to be able to explain your mystique correctly so that people realize that you do have some type of superpower. And your mystique, everyone's got a mystique, it's up to you to find out what that is, what really makes you different. And the last thing you need to do is pace out any type of resistance, because the audience members are going to be sitting inside your audience. That's why they're called audience members. That's a bad joke. But your audience members are going to be sitting in your audience, and they're going to have resistance. They're going to have resistance to following your ideas, resistance to getting fit, resistance to eating healthy, resistance to spending money on your product or service, resistance to taking action and signing up for a program that's benefiting them. I mean, they've all got different types of resistance, and your job is to really pace out that resistance. I'm going to cover more of that resistance a bit later on. The next thing is, and the last thing is, you need to call them to action. So the call to action generally involves some brief type of a review. So you just review the core points that you've covered so far, and then you run them through what's called the perfect pitch. Now, the perfect pitch is a 27-step pitch that basically ticks every single box. So when you're offering your products or services at the end of a talk, you've got to imagine that your audience members have a series of light switches, like a dashboard of light switches in your mind, and you need to click off every single one of those switches in order for them to make a decision. If you've ever sold face-to-face before, you're in for a bit of a rude surprise when you get up and present from a platform. The reason being is when you're on a stage, your audience members don't talk back, which means you cannot tailor your communication based on their values or based on their needs. I repeat that. You cannot tailor your conversation based on their values or their needs. So when you're communicating face-to-face with someone, you really have a unique ability to guide your conversation using their keywords, using their body language. With an audience member, though, they're just sitting there with a blank look on their face 9 times out of 10. So when you come to offer your services, there are 27 things you must get absolutely correct and in order. And if you do that correctly, you put your audience member in the best position for them to make an educated decision on whether or not your services will benefit them. Most people in an audience will say no to your product, not because it doesn't benefit them, simply because the switches have not been turned off. And I know my message is integrity, and I know the speakers I work with are in integrity, so I believe that when it comes to serving someone at the highest level and truly making an impact in their life, you should use whatever technique you have at your disposal to allow them the most freedom to make that decision. And so you should be exquisite at learning every single technique possible to free the mind beyond their belief system so they can make an inspired decision, a decision that comes from their heart that has not been interpreted by their brains and their beliefs. So really, if you're in integrity, and I know that you are if you're on this call because you'll be resonating with who we are, and that's the sort of people we draw to us. If you're on this call and you have integrity in what you're doing, just please understand that you are worthy and you are allowed to use every technique possible to make it as open a decision as they can, void of all of their previous beliefs and dogma, as in their beliefs of what they believe to be true that have been handed down to them from other people. So that's really, as a speaker, that is your sole duty, to free up their beliefs, to allow them to make inspired decisions so they can follow their heart. And that's really where the perfect pitch comes in. And then obviously you need to thank your audience. And that pretty much is how you craft a presentation. It's a great system for doing it. I know people out in the marketplace will charge you $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 just to teach you that. I think that's a bit ridiculous. Here it is. Just get into it. Obviously you need to fill in the gaps. And if you have trouble with that, we can definitely help you filling in the gaps at programs that we offer. But that's the overview of the system. So now we need to look at the 2 different tracks. There are 2 fundamental tracks that are occurring, and this is really going to blow your mind. This is going to be some mind-opening stuff you're about to learn now, so pay attention. There are 2 types of tracks out there when you're communicating to an audience. And what people don't realize is this: if you were to look at an ice cube, for example, an ice cube, what you see on the surface really isn't what it's all about, because what's actually driving the ice cube truly is the huge amount of ice underneath that's being picked up by the currents. And as the saying goes, it's just the tip of the iceberg. So quite often when you're sitting in an audience, depending on where your level of perception is, you're only going to be getting the tip of the iceberg of what professional speakers are actually doing. And I'm going to open up and show you what these professional speakers are actually doing. So the first track is the track of perception, as in what it is that you're perceiving they are actually saying to you. So they might be talking about a cat, and you're perceiving that they're talking about a cat. But unfortunately, what you're not perceiving is that this cat has made a decision to not eat a specific type of cat food anymore, and as a result of that decision, it's now taking new action by walking into a new part of the house where it's actually now eating all the healthy types of foods that cats love to eat. Now, perceptually wise, you're hearing a story about a cat, but what you're not tuning into is what's called the track of intention. And the track of intention is what the speaker intends you to get out of this piece of communication. So with the example of the cat that I just used, my intention was to get you to stop eating unhealthy foods and start eating healthy foods, but I was talking about a cat. So you were perceiving on the surface level, the tip of the iceberg, you were perceiving a story about a cat. Now, if you were aware enough with your perception, you were also perceiving the intention of what I was doing. Now, my advice is always keep your intentions as pure as possible and want nothing more to serve your audience members so that they can do one thing, and that is improve the quality of their life. So always go out there to serve your audience members so they can do one thing, and that is improve the quality of their life. And if you have that intent, then your track of intention will always be pure. And as I mentioned, you can always use all the tricks that are and the techniques that are at your disposal. So now that we understand there are two types of tracks, the track of perception, what generally people perceive, and the track of intention. Your track of perception is going to expand significantly as a result of what I'm about to tell you. So next time you sit down in an audience, you're going to have a higher level perception of what's actually going on in the room, simply because I've shown you what speakers are actually doing. So your perception will now start to take in the intention of what the speaker is actually doing. And as I said, over time, your perception will grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. I remember the first time I watched Chris Howard speak, I thought this guy was incredible. I thought his sales process was second to none. I mean, I signed up for all of his programs, $7,500 worth of training, simply because I had never seen anybody master sales to such an extent as this gentleman. I had virtually no idea what I was buying. He hadn't even told me what was in any of the programs. I paid in full, put the whole thing on my credit card, and for those of you who know me, I was 130 grand in debt at the time, so I definitely didn't have the money. But what I saw in Chris was a phenomenal ability to truly share a message and get people to take action. And when I went back and saw him again, as my perception levels expanded more and more, I started to realize all of the techniques that were in there, and I started to see his intention that was driving that. And you're going to be able to see that as well. So let's have a look at what's going on when speakers are creating and crafting their presentations. There are two fundamental things that people want to get across to you, and you might want to write these down somewhere. Every story you tell must contain two fundamental elements. The first one is that someone in the story made a decision. Now, what I'm giving you right now is solid gold, and I really want you to get just how valuable what I'm telling you is. People spend thousands of dollars to learn what I'm telling you right now. So the first fundamental ingredient of your story, it must have the fact that people in that story make new decisions. If people in the story are not making new decisions, there's no point you telling the story. I'll repeat it again. If people in the story are not making new decisions, there's no point you telling the story. The second fundamental thing that you have to have in your story is that the people in the story took some type of action. So I'm going to repeat that. That people in the story made a decision and that people in the story took action. So you need to start thinking about, if I'm going to talk about people in the story, you may or may not have heard the story about, they call it the Think and Grow Rich story. And it's a story where Napoleon Hill, the author of Think and Grow Rich, actually, just by a show of hands, who's actually read that book, Think and Grow Rich? I just want you to click on the up hand thing. So just raise your hand just so I can see who's actually read the book before. So just all you got to do is click on that hand with the green arrow and just click on that just as quick as you can, just so I know who's actually read Think and Grow Rich. Thanks, Belle. Thanks, Ben. Thanks, Carol, for putting your hand up. I see Cyril's done it. I see Dave's read it. I see Erica's read it. I see Jerry's read it. Glenda's read it. Helen's read it. Look, let's face it, a whole bunch of people have read it. So I'm just thank you for putting your hands up. So in Think and Grow Rich, a lot of people use this from a stage, and you may have heard it. You've seen many people talk. It's called the Think and Grow Rich frame. The Think and Grow Rich frame. And it works like this. I'll say it verbatim. Napoleon Hill was given the opportunity to write a book in which he was going to be introduced to the top 1,000 wealthiest people on the planet. He had a meeting with a gentleman called Andrew Carnegie, who was a steel magnate, and Andrew Carnegie gave him the opportunity of a lifetime. He said, Napoleon, what I'd like to do is give you an opportunity to meet the 1,000 wealthiest people on the planet. But here's the deal. I'm not going to pay you for it. You have to fund your own travel, and at the end of it, what I'd like you to do with these interviews is formulate them into a book that we can then distribute out to the world. And then he sat there, having proposed his option, and he waited and waited and waited. What basically happened is Napoleon Hill said yes at the 43-second mark. So within 43 seconds, Napoleon Hill had made the decision that he would journey, fund this all on his own, get paid nothing, and write this book because Andrew asked him to do it. What Napoleon was not aware of was that Andrew only had 45 seconds to answer it. If he had taken 46 seconds to answer it, Andrew would have taken the deal off the table and it would be over. You'd never have heard of Think and Grow Rich. Now, this is a true story that actually happened, but the reason speakers tell it from stage is because the intention is that you learn that successful people make decisions quickly. Because an audience member that makes quick decisions is somebody who can act on your ideas and I'd ultimately sign up for something at the end of the course or go and eat that healthy salad or whatever it is. So the story about Napoleon Hill and Andrew Carnegie, that really reinforces that successful people make decisions quickly. Because as I said, he actually used to do this. He used to time 45 seconds for people to make decisions regardless of the type of opportunity he was offering them. Because over time he had seen through the thousands of people that he had employed that the successful ones are the ones that make decisions rapidly. In fact, the quote, I don't know if you'll have time to write this down, but one of the key quotes out there is that successful people make decisions rapidly and change them slowly, whereas unsuccessful people make decisions slowly and change them rapidly. So you've got to work out whether or not you're successful or unsuccessful, and just really keep that in mind, that the success comes from rapid decision making. So you need to let your audience members know that. So when you hear the Napoleon Hill frame next time, you'll know what the speaker's trying to do. The speaker is attempting to awaken you to the fact that to be successful you need to make decisions quickly, but also they're hoping that as a result of you waking up to that, you'll be able to make a decision at the end of their talk to buy their product or service. And this is part of the intention track. All right, so the next thing I want to show you is, I guess, the concept of, if you have a look on your screen and just have a look at all these people. These are some of the, in fact, all these people are my mentors. Some of them I've worked with personally. Some of them I work with through their literatures and whatnot. But all of them have incredible ideas that they can share with you and really allow you to see different ways of thinking so you can evolve your own way of thinking. But all these people have one thing in common, and quite often at my talks I'll put up a slide like this and talk about these mentors and the ideas that they share and what value I've gotten from learning from them. But I also let you know that every single one of these people have done one thing, and what they've done is they've turned fear into action. So they've had the ability to turn fear into action. And what I'm doing here, this is a frame. This has got two tracks. There's the perception that you're seeing mentors on the screen right now, but then there's also the intention that's driving what I'm saying to you. I'm wanting to say to you that if you want to be successful like these people, ladies and gentlemen, you have to turn fear into action. So somewhere during your talk, you must frame up the audience to let them know it's okay to be afraid and that you can turn that fear into action. Because courage, the ability to be courageous, it's not the absence of fear, it's the ability to find something more important than the fear. That's really what courage is. Courage is finding something more important than the fear you're currently facing. So you need to let your audience members know that it's okay. Everybody's afraid. We all have fear in our lives. You know, it's a part of life. We really do have it. And you say, oh, Ben, no, I don't have any fears whatsoever. You're lying to yourself. It's absolute rubbish. I've met thousands of people, and I've done over 7,000 one-on-one consultations. I'm here to tell you everybody has fears of some description, and they're continually taking the layers off. It's like peeling an onion. But what I have found is that the courageous people, they still have the fear, but they move through it. They move beyond it. They don't react to the fear anymore. So really let your audience members know it's okay to be afraid, and it's okay to turn that fear into action. And there's a lot of speakers that I have worked with before and I'm about to share with you some ideas about setting anchors. But before I do that, I just want you to have a listen to some of these speakers. Just listen to what they've said about the techniques and technologies of having turned fear into action, really made a go of things, and just look at some of the results they've got as a result of me assisting by helping them with their message, helping them with their crew, helping with their back end. Just have a quick listen of what they have to say here.
And here in Australia, Ben has been helping me tweak and modify even my own presentations I've given live all over the world. And the difference he's made in just a few minutes of helping me recraft my communication to really share with people what is it that I do, how I can help them, and how my message and my product can make a difference in their lives has been absolutely phenomenal. And I get to choose who I work with anywhere in the world, and he is one of the best.
Ben personally coached me in a 90-minute session to make a $200,000 sale. Ben comes from a place of integrity and values. In this day and age in selling, that is rare. So I'd urge you to see Ben live in action.
If you're a speaker, or even if you're not, if you're a writer, even if you're not, if you're a person, and I know you are, you're going to benefit just from knowing Ben Harvey. I sure know that I have benefited, and I consider it a privilege to be able to say good things about him behind his back.
We've been quite successful with his help to grow our business to 22 million in global sales pretty much overnight, and a lot of that is due to the success of our sales training that we've received on the back end, and Ben Harvey is the man.
Like Ben, and I've had some pretty remarkable results so far. My last speech actually produced twice as many sales as my previous ones. And part of this is just having someone with experience speaking to an Australian audience helping me rebuild my presentation.
And so as you can hear from the different, I mean, these guys are all experts in their industry. I know a lot of you know John Assaraf, and some of you know Ari Galper. I'm sure most of you have heard of guerrilla marketing before. That's Jay Conrad Levinson. He's the guy who created guerrilla marketing. And I know a lot of people online have worked with Chris Howard before. And Mike Koenigs, the founder of Traffic Geyser. Mike Koenigs is considered one of the highest paid on-camera personalities in the world, having generated $3.1 million directly talking to a camera in a single day. If you have a look at some of the results they've gotten there, and this really is just by working with a system and a structure of getting the message clear and really understanding how to move forward from there. So what they all have in common with some of the stuff that I've worked with is they have these things called anchors. And it's really important to set your anchors and get your anchors very clear, because all pros use a formula. I just want you to write that down somewhere. All pros use a formula. In fact, what I'd like you to do before we go any further, this is very, very important that you do this. What I need you to do right now is I need you to just have a look at your computer screen, and I need you to jump up and just stretch for a second. I want you to just stand up and massage your butt, stand up and massage your abdomen, your butt, whatever it is. And this is really critically important to understand from a speaking perspective. And if you're sitting there right now, don't sit there. I want you to stand up right now, take action, and move your body around. Shake your body out a little bit, get the blood flowing, get it moving around. And this is critically important as a speaker, that you get your audience to interact. About every 45 minutes or so, you should have your audience members stand up and shake their body out. This is critically important, but so many speakers miss this fundamental necessity of an audience member. I got a text message the other day from a friend of mine. He's like, Ben, this guy certainly hasn't been trained by you. It's been 2 hours since I've stood up and my butt has given up. Here's a fundamental thing you're going to learn about speaking. The brain can only handle what the butt can endure. The brain can only handle what the butt can endure. Excuse me. So it's very important to understand that when your audience members' butts give up, their brains will give up, and they're no longer going to listen to you. So you really need to absolutely make sure they move around. So please grab a seat, get comfortable again. So set your anchors. All pros use a formula. That is an anchor. It's not about resource, it's about resourcefulness. That is an anchor. Life rewards action. That is an anchor. Visions require decisions. That is an anchor. So come up with an anchor that can anchor it in, because at the end of the day, if I've seen you for 3 hours at a presentation, about the only thing I'm going to remember is the phrase anchor itself. So it's really important to get this concept and really get it clear inside your mind. Politicians are exquisite at using phrase anchors. I mean, Barack Obama used the phrase, yes, we can, yes, we can, yes, we can. What an exquisite phrase anchor that allowed him to truly win the election, the presidential election. That phrase anchor had a huge thing to do with that. So think about your anchors as in, what is one sentence you can repeat over the 2 to 3 hour talk that when they leave, that is burned into their mind. I mean, if you go and do Date with Destiny with Tony Robbins for 7 days, you will leave with a phrase anchor burned into your mind. And that phrase anchor is, it's not about me, it's about we. It's not about me, it's about we. So people will remember the phrase anchor long after the learnings have dissolved into the long-term unconscious memory or dissolved well and truly for good. So think your phrase anchors through, because all pros use a formula. And the more you can have a phrase anchor that people can take home, it's what they're going to remember tomorrow. When they wake up tomorrow, all they're going to be able to say to their friends is, oh man, here's what I got. I got that all pros use a formula. I got that life rewards action. I got the visions require decisions. People are going to be phrasing your content. So you may as well give them the phrase anchor you would like them to use when they're describing your training. And obviously it helps them to remember it. Another great one that I use is this concept of let's find out. This for me is one of my favorite sentences that I ever discovered in life. I know that quite often in life we're given opportunities that we don't always take action on. And I found a lot of resistance in my body doing things that I know I'd want to be doing, but I kept pulling back and wasn't moving forward. And, I mean, I don't know about you, but one of the things that I really had a vision was to stand in front of a room full of people and share a message in a way that people responded to it. And I don't know if you can, imagine yourself doing that, but I really wanted to go out there and share a message. One of my mentors once said to me, Ben, the secret to life is find something that you would do for free and then go out and get paid handsomely well for it. Find something you do for free and then go out and get paid handsomely well for it. And the thing that I would do absolutely for free is speak to people. I absolutely love it, and it's so fulfilling and inspiring. So I just want you to picture yourself, 12 months from now, walking onto a platform and having your unique message to share, having a complete product line set up, and just see what that feels like inside. Just do it now. See what it feels like inside your mind and body. Let's actually find out what it feels like to share your message to an audience. And one of the best ways to do that is inside your mind, because your mind can't tell the difference between reality and a dream. It deals with the same things. It deals with both of them exactly the same way. So just for a brief moment, just close your eyes and just see yourself out a year from now, walking onto a stage, a room full of people, and you're just sharing your gift from your heart with them and see them responding and connecting. And at the end of your talk, notice that you're offering them some type of program, and notice that they're getting up and signing up for your program, and it's a total natural evolution. People want to do more with you because of how connected you are, how authentic you are. And just notice how that feels inside your body. Because at the end of the day, what you need to do, you can open up your eyes now, at the end of the day what you need to do is you need to just find out. Let's find out. Let's find out how many books you can read. Let's find out how many sit-ups you can do. Let's find out how many hot dogs you can eat. I don't care what you want to find out, but let's find out. Let's not get to the end of our life regretting that we never found out what we were capable of doing. Too many people I work with have all these regrets, not people in our company, but the clients that I work with have all these regrets because they're not willing to find out. So a great phrase anchor that I really embody in my own life is let's find out. So if my partner says, hey, Ben, let's go to Cuba for 2 weeks and learn Cuban salsa dancing, every cell in my body doesn't want to do that, right? But, hey, it's a new experience. So I just say to myself, well, let's find out. Let's go to Cuba and let's do some Cuban salsa and let's find out if I can do it. Because if we don't find out, we're never going to know. And so really, this is a phrase anchor that's important to me that's really made a difference in my life. So find phrase anchors that your audience can grab a hold of. It helps if they're rhymey or they're catchy or they have the same sort of alliteration. But definitely work on your phrase anchors. Your talk should really be scripted around where to insert phrase anchors once you've worked out your outcome. Okay, the next thing we're going to look at is knowing your key frames. And there's a couple of key frames you need to really understand. The first one is that the majority of people in your audience won't believe in themselves. They really won't. They'll have a belief that they're not good enough, that they're not worthy enough, they're too old, that they can't do things, they don't have enough money, that things never work for them. So you need to work with their self-belief as much as possible. And this is something you need to frame out right at the beginning. So 3 to 5 minutes of a 90-minute talk should be spent on people's beliefs. In fact, your whole talk should be spent on how to overcome your beliefs, because your beliefs are really what's going to hold them back. One of my favorite questions that I love to ask myself is what do I believe to be true that isn't? What do I believe to be true that isn't? So if I'm looking at a program that I could purchase that's going to catapult my speaking career, and I say to myself, I can't afford it, then I say, well, wait a minute, what do I believe to be true that isn't? Well, I believe that I can't find resources. I believe that I can't, use my credit card. I believe that I haven't found money in the past. I believe that I'm not worthy of things. So I always like to check in with what I believe to be true that isn't. And you should really be doing this with your audience members as well, because their self-belief is the number one reason they won't take action on your ideas. And it's sad because our beliefs are like prisons that we live in for the rest of our life. And as a good speaker, your duty should be to really captivate audience members and move them forward. Actually, I just want to find out something. I'm just a bit curious. I've got a little poll here that I'm just going to raise just for a second. I just want to find something out here. Just a very quick poll. I just want to find out, do you actually craft your presentations in reverse order? That's actually what I'm just curious. Do you craft your presentations in reverse order? So just quickly answer that one. And what I mean by that is, are you thinking about, well, here's the outcome and then I'm going backwards? Or am I just getting up there and talking and having a crack? Or we call it the shotgun approach. You just show up and throw up. But how do you actually craft your presentations? Just click on the screen as quick as you can. But just think this one through, because we've covered a bit of distance here, so I just want to take a bit of a break and let you integrate the information and just slow down for a little bit. And I'm just going to launch that poll there. I noticed that most of you voted here. I'm just going to shut it off. And thank you for clicking on it. And if you didn't have time to click on it, that's fine. You missed out. But we can just have a look here. It's about, it looks like it's about 65% of people don't craft their presentations in reverse order. So this is really something you need to be thinking about, because this is how your mind needs to work. In fact, everything you do should be crafted in reverse order. Actually, one other thing that I'm curious to find out, let's just find something out. I really am curious about this. I want you to answer this. The other thing I'm curious about is, do you have clear phrase anchors? So do you actually have clear phrase anchors for your talks? So if I sat down and said, okay, I want you to rattle off your top 10 phrase anchors, could you tell me them? Could you tell me which talks they go into? Could you tell me how many of them there are? Do you actually have clear phrase anchors? Just click on your screen nice and quickly so we can see what's going on there. But make sure you're interacting. Stay interacting with this webinar, and make sure you're interacting all the way through the end, that you're taking action on the ideas we're giving you. Great, I'm just going to wrap that up there. I noticed that a few of you have voted. You've got to be a little bit quicker, team. 68, 70, whoops, 73% of you have voted. You've got to be quick clicking on these things. I'm just giving you a hard time. All right, so let's have a look. You can see here, this is why a lot of your talks aren't hitting their mark. And the reason they're not hitting their mark is because 82% of you haven't spent time scripting your phrase anchors. If you were to ask me, seriously, the hardest part of my career as a speaker, I have to tell you, it's phrase anchors. I spend hours and hours and hours crafting phrase anchors, because I worked out that this is the core thing you take home. Long after the lesson, you'll take the phrase anchor. So you just saw that 82% of people don't use phrase anchors. It's very important to be aware of that, and I hope you got a great lesson, some learnings out of that you start crafting them. You just make them up, just make them fun and have fun with them. So what do you believe to be true that isn't? Very important. I had a self-belief that I couldn't travel. When I was 6 years of age, I went to Fiji and a horse trod on my foot, and I set up all these negative patterns about traveling, and my parents used to have to force me to go on holidays. And I only traveled overseas twice again before the age of 18, and I didn't travel again until I was 27 years of age. At the age of 27, I realized I had a belief that traveling was unsafe. I removed the belief, and since then, I've managed to travel like all over the world, really have. I mean, I've traveled to all different destinations. I've traveled to Cuba. I've traveled to, okay, I'll just put up some photos here. We can take a bit of a break. There's us in Cuba at a waterfall there. Here's us visiting Africa as well on a safari, and here's me doing some weights in Japan, and doing some weights in London, and doing some weights in Egypt, and hanging out in the Colosseum. But as a result of working out what I believe to be true that isn't, I was able to start traveling around the world because I had a belief. I was living inside a prison that says I couldn't travel because it was unsafe. So a lot of your audience members have beliefs about what they believe to be true that isn't. And that's actually Domingo Bao. He's one of the foremost Cuban salsa teachers. So yes, I did go to Cuba, and I did spend 2 weeks learning how to do salsa. And you'll be pleased to know that I still can't do it. But at least I found out. At least I had a crack at it. So as I said, it's really important to work with your audience beliefs about what they think is possible and what they can do. That's me skiing in Austria, and this is one of our cats. These are some Indigenous youth leaders that I train and assist to go into third world countries and share health messages. And this is actually an orphanage that we sponsor over in Africa as well. So As a result of removing my beliefs, I've allowed myself to free up my time to go and do the things that I really love. Now, your audience members need to really allow themselves to remove that self-belief. It's critically important. The next thing is responsiveness. This is where you get your crowd to respond. If you lose responsiveness, you lose the audience. So when I got you to put your hand out in front of you and pat yourself on the back, if you did that, you were responding to what I was saying. So responsiveness is very important because you need your audience to be responsive while you're communicating to them. I mean, I've seen a great one where a great responsiveness frame was where a lady once stood up at the front of the stage. She had a handful of money. And she basically just said, if someone was standing in front of you with a handful of money and you could just take this money right now, what would you do? And she had this huge handful of money out in front of her, and people started getting up and grabbing the money off her. And pretty soon the whole audience understood what was going on, and they started running towards the front of the stage grabbing money. Now, it's kind of a fairly cruel experiment because if you don't get the money, you feel quite bad about yourself. But what she was doing was she was training the audience to be responsive and to start taking action on inspired thought. So think of something you might be able to give away from a platform, or something you might be able to give away up the back at the sales table, or something you can get them to act on so that you can actually get them to be responsive. Quite often I get people to stand up, I get people to shake hands, I get people to slap high fives, I get people to repeat things to fill in the end of my sentences, all sorts of things. All of this aids in their responsiveness. So make sure your talks gain responsiveness in your audience. People always say, but Ben, I communicate to corporate people that wear suits and they have crossed arms and they're not responsive. Rubbish. Everyone is a human and everyone can respond if you frame them correctly. So don't say my audience is not a responsive audience. That is a load of rubbish. Get rid of the excuse. Never, ever say it again. Anywhere in the world you are dealing with humans, and all humans have this thing called psychology, and once you understand it, you can get them to be responsive. So make sure you're framing up responsiveness. The next one is know-it-alls. So you've got to get rid of people that know it all, because in the audience, they're just going to ruin it for everybody else. So really make sure that you're getting rid of the know-it-alls by framing them out, letting them know that you have know-it-alls before, and that true masters or people who really are learners are the ones that have empty cups, or great know-it-all frame is some of you may have, I'll say it for you, some of you may have heard this content before, but what I've discovered is that if you hear content for a second time, there is another layer that you haven't yet attained. So my advice is any of the content you hear tonight that you feel like you've heard before, imagine that you're hearing it for the very first time and see what additional benefits you can extract from it. That is a frame that frames up me saying stuff that you may have heard before. And the last one is the hostage frame. You absolutely must get rid of hostages. So the hostage frame is all about making sure that if you got dragged along by somebody else, you're still going to enjoy yourself. And so as you're on stage, when you're framing up the audience, as I said in that connect section of crafting your talk, your frames are where you say sentences that frame the audience. And a great hostage frame is put your hand up if you got dragged here by a friend. And what that does, it gives people permission to put their hand up because they feel they've been dragged here or ambushed. And then when they put their hand up, you turn to those people with their hand up and you say, don't worry, I've been in the same situation as you before. What I know is that tonight you're going to get incredible value. You're probably going to laugh a lot. And at the end of the day, you're going to have a bucket load of fun learning something new. So welcome to our community. And that way it just makes them feel good that they've been dragged along and that they've really been sort of sabotaged and hijacked into coming to your talk. Now, here's the next thing that I want you to learn. Just having some more water. Here's the next thing that I want you to learn and really take on at the deepest level. It's that seeds grow sales. Seeds grow sales. I'll repeat that. Seeds grow sales. So when you're up there communicating whatever it is that you want to be talking about, you need to seed the audience. So when you plant seeds in your customers' minds, you water them and then you allow them to grow into what they are going to grow into. I'll give an example of a seed. Let's just say, for example, that your offer involves a video camera. So let's just say that you're going to offer a program at the end of your talk, and in that program you're going to give people a video camera. Now, the video camera has no value until you explain what can happen with it. Now, I actually have worked with many, many professional speakers. I've worked with a gentleman called Jack DeLosa, and Jack DeLosa owns a company called The Entourage. Now, I don't know if you've heard of The Entourage, and he also owns a company called MBE. Now, Jack is a keynote speaker. He loves sharing his message, and he's really all about creating a movement. Now, Jack came to me and wanted some advice because he wanted to improve his speaking skills, so I've coached Jack for a few months. And we've really been able to get some phenomenal results. I mean, he's now sharing his message better than he's ever shared it before. And he's really all about getting people inspired to be part of his movement. But part of that is him making sales. You know, he has to make sales to get people to be inspired to go to the next step with his business. Now, as a result of working with Jack, we've been able to get his conversions in the room sometimes as high as 25, 26% on a cold audience. Now, a cold audience means you've never met them before. Now, generally speaking, speakers out there in the world are getting somewhere between 5 to 7% on a very cold room once the room gets over 100 people. I repeat that. A lot of people are going for percentages of people signing up of 50 and 60%. That's all rubbish. That doesn't happen, right? I'm here to tell you the facts and the statistics of numbers. And we've seen it. Cham and myself have seen it. We've worked with some of the biggest promotion companies in Australia, and we've seen the statistics of speakers. So anyone telling you that they're getting 50% conversion on a cold room, they're flat out lying to you. You know, that's just the way it is. Or their price point is very, very low, and they're giving away free stuff. But really, as a speaker, if you can get 7% of your audience to want to do more with you, to want to share in your gifts and share in your services and really be inspired to take on your services and your products, then you're doing quite well for yourself. So start at aiming for 7% and then slowly make your way up. Anyway, Jack's got one of these video cameras. And what Jack did is he recently ran an event called the Unconvention. And so what he did is he filmed the event. And as a result of filming the event, he was able to send me the video. Then I was able to then sit down with Jack, and we were able to go through and really clarify exactly what parts of his presentation he can improve. So a video camera is a critical asset to a speaker. Now, as a result of that, we've been able to tweak and modify his presentation even further. In fact, at that Unconvention, he had about 800 people in the room, and he had an incredible result. You know, 80 to 85 people continued with his program. So he was able to get 10% of those people to progress further, which is a phenomenal result. And really it's great because Jack gets to share his message a lot more. But without a video camera, we wouldn't have been able to critique and modify his presentation. So to Jack, having video footage of his presentation is absolutely critical. You know, I work with a lot of clients, and I actually work with a gentleman called Cyril Sano, and he's actually recorded a presentation. Cyril sent me a video, and I've been able to have a look through his confidence presentation. He's a confidence coach, and he works with his partner Juan, and they both do confidence coaching. So they have a concept of how to get confidence. They've got a system of being confident. And as a result of being able to videotape his presentations, I can now critique and look through those and see how he can improve those presentations. And they're both really good at what they do. So if you are looking for confidence, by all means do check them out. But here's the thing, you must need a video camera if you're going to start presenting. And so what I'm doing right now is this is seeding. I'm now showing you a video camera. I'm telling you stories about a video camera. And I'm also showing you a perceived value of a video camera. I mean, Jack DeLosa has had the good fortune of doing $250,000 days, so $250,000 days as a result of the technologies I've been teaching him. And as a result of being able to critique his presentations by watching his videos. Because I simply don't have time to go and sit there and watch all of Jack's talk. But you get the idea. A video camera is very, very essential. Now, if it's part of your offer, this is seeding it in. I'm telling you about a camera. I'm making you want a camera and feel a desire for a camera. And if I offer a camera as part of my product, I've now planted a great seed. So anything that your offer has in it, so anything you're going to offer me at the end of your talk, you've got to mention it sometime during your talk. Otherwise, I don't understand the value of it. So that's what seeding is really all about. And when it comes to really creating the perfect pitch and an offer, you're looking for 3 core things that you want to increase. The first thing you want to increase is the value of your offer to the consumer. The second thing you want to increase is the emotion of your offer to the consumer. And the third thing you want to increase is the internal tension to the consumer. And I guess what I want you to just imagine for a moment is think right now of your financial situation. So think about where you're at with your finances right now. Think about right now where you're at with your level of fulfillment and what you're doing with your life. And just tune into the reality. Don't have this overly positive view of it. Don't have an overly negative. Just look at the reality. How much money is in your bank account? How many assets do you own? Do you still drive to work in the morning and work 9 to 5 making someone else rich? Are you working, what are you doing right now? And as you're focused in the here and now, what I'd like you to do is step out of that. And I want you to go 2 years into the future now. So just go 2 years into the future. And inside your mind's eye, what I'd like you to see is yourself presenting to rooms full of people. And I just want you to open up your mind now and allow this belief to sink in. I want you to observe that as a result of sharing your message and inspiring people on this incredible platform, you are now earning 6 figures every time you talk. And just notice what happens in your body. Some of you, I could feel it. Some of you actually felt tension there, and your belief came up saying, that's not possible. I can't do that. But I've got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, just stay out there. I just want you to stay out there in that image of you earning six-figure days, as in $100,000 for presenting your message and sharing your gifts and your blessings. But I also want you to observe at that 2-year mark that you're working your own hours. You're doing your own thing now. You're doing only what you love, and you're your own boss. And I just want you to observe how that feels. And just contrast that to where you are now. So contrast living on purpose, doing what you love, presenting, working your own hours, sharing your gift and your message from a platform, earning, $100,000 in a day, which means you get to take the next 6 months off, and contrast that to what you're doing right now. And observe the tension you have between where you are and where you want to be. This is an example of creating internal tension. This is something you can do with your audience members to show them the gap they have between where they are and where they really want to be in life. Because it's very important that they understand what it's all about. It's really important that they get this concept. And it's very important that they use as much imagery as possible. It's very, very important that you engage the senses and use imagery, because the more they can imagine themselves, the more likely they are to be inspired by your offer. And it's always important to make sure that you tell stories. At the end of the day, we love storytelling. You'll notice today that I told a story about my barber, and I described the sort of physique and the build they had. I described the clothes they were wearing and the color of their hair. So the way that you draw people into a story is you want to describe the characters at length. So write that down. A good story develops characters. A good story develops characters. So when you're learning to present, you want the actors inside, the characters inside your stories to really come to life, because the best speakers on the planet, they're all telling stories. It's all about storytelling. And we come out to watch these speakers to be entertained, to be educated, to obviously purchase their products and services if they align, but really we come for an incredible story. So learn how to bring life to your characters. Don't just say, Jenny did this. Say Jenny is this, if you can imagine Jenny, she's this 75-year-old Italian woman, and she's about 3 foot tall. She's got hair like steel wool, that steely colored, and she wears these incredible, it's like these hand-knitted cardigans that kind of remind me of tea cozies that I used to see at my grandmother's house. And she's always wearing those clog-like sandals. And it's funny, she always wears those high knee-pulled pink socks. So she's always got these socks pulled up to her knees. So these pink socks with these brown clogs on. And she wears, every time I see her, she wears this navy blue skirt down to her knees with this multi-technicolor knitted cardigan, and with this steel wool grey hair. And it's funny. I mean, obviously, age hasn't done Jenny any favors. You can really see the wrinkles coming through. I don't mean any disrespect to Jenny, but if you could imagine one of those, those Japanese dogs with the wrinkles, or even one of those, those really wrinkly dogs. I don't know what they're called, but that's kind of what a face looks like. Now, I'm actually describing one of my late great aunts. But by doing that, you're able to really envisage the character I was talking about. And if I went on to talk to you more about Jenny, you'd be able to picture her far more accurately, which means your imagination has been invoked, which means you're far more drawn into the story. So it's very important that you absolutely allow yourself to tell good stories about what's going on when you're communicating with your audience. Now, one of the things about self-belief is people, I just want to keep reinforcing this. Chris Howard, for example, he generated a $22 million business from speaking. I know people out there in the industry, I know a gentleman specifically here in Australia that did a 90-minute talk that generated $1.4 million. I've worked with a gentleman called Sean Rasmussen, the Aussie internet marketer, and Sean Rasmussen now is doing six-figure days. I just mentioned Jack DeLosa, he's doing $250,000 days. But it's not about getting these big figure days. What I'm really wanting to get across to you is that you can actually earn an income doing this. You really can. I know a lot of great speakers that it's not uncommon for them to make $2,000 to $3,000 in a day, which is a lot of money doing what you love. And at the end of the day, money isn't everything, but it does allow you to have a lot of great options in life. And I can't think of anything greater than earning money from doing what you love, and that's really sharing a message. And this is a great way to frame it. This is another frame that I often talk to the audience about, that if you think education is expensive, wait till you see what stupid costs. This is a frame. This is showing the audience that if you don't want to be stupid, spend money on education, because stupid is going to be way more expensive in the long run. Quite often I'll share with people just the sort of debt that I was in when I made a decision to sign up for my education. This is Amex. I owed $5,100 $54 to Amex. I owed $8,500 to Virgin Money, and I also owed $15,000 to GE, and I also owed about 40 grand, as you can see on your screen there, $40,000 to Westpac, and another $18,000 on my credit card. That $18,000 you can see on your screen there, you notice that these debts are 15th of October 2007. So 15th of October 2007. So it's just recently I got out of, these debts were present, what's that, about 5 years ago. So when I went into my career and started following my passion, I really, I was 130 grand in real debt. These are real, these are real invoices I'm showing you here. But what I like, the reason I like to show this to the audience is I like to let them know that what's possible. I like to let them know that they can actually do this, that they can actually transform their life and really make a go of things. They can transform where they're at. And I like people to realize that, I went through depression and a whole range of things, but I could make a go of things, and you can too. So I like to show people evidence that I was in a huge amount of debt, but I still took action. I still bought $17,500 worth of education when I was 130 grand in debt. So I'm glad I did that, because when people come up to me and say, I don't have the money, I simply know they are lying. That's it. Like, I don't have the money. That's an absolute lie. Anyone who ever says I don't have the money hasn't truly worked out what money is. So I'm just glad, because I didn't have the money. I really didn't. I was 130 grand in real debt in October 2007, and I made a $17,500 purchase at that point. So I don't have the money is a belief system. It's a boundary condition of a blocked mind. And there are 5 core boundaries. I'm just going to run through them briefly with you that will show up inside your mind. The first one is it costs too much, which really is I don't have the money, right? So it costs too much is the first boundary, the first belief system you will activate when you start to get confused by what's going on, because a confused mind says no, and a confused mind activates boundary conditions. And a confused mind says I don't have the money, whereas we really know that you always do have the money. The next one is it won't work. The next one after that is that it won't work for me. The next one is I can wait. And the last one is it's too difficult. So these are the 5 boundaries that your audience members will have when they're sitting down looking at what you have to offer them. And you need to be able to work your way through that. In fact, just have a look at those and just work out. I'm just going to poll you very, very quickly. I want you to work out, tell me which boundary condition most affects your decisions in life. Because these boundary conditions all affect your ability to make decisions. So just go ahead and on the screen just click which one of these boundary conditions most affects your decision-making in life. And just be as quick as you can with this. So just be thinking about it. Which one do I let really block me the most when I'm making decisions? Is it like just keep telling myself it costs too much? Every opportunity that comes my way, it costs too much, it costs too much. You'll be saying that for the rest of your life. Or it won't work for me, I'm different. I've got a visa, I'm traveling overseas, I'm too old, I'm too short, I'm too fat, I'm too thin, I'm too hairy, I'm too bald. Or I can wait. Actually, it doesn't matter. I can wait till next time. I can do it next year. It doesn't really matter. I can make it. Just click on the screen and work out which one it is, because you need to be aware of this, because this is just a language pattern that is preventing you. Truly, I'm just going to close that poll up and show you what's going on here. This is actually different to when I polled last time, but let's have a look. Here's what the poll is, and here's what it says. Notice that 40% of you are still telling yourself that things cost too much. And when you start shutting down opportunities because they cost too much, unfortunately, you're going to keep saying that forever. I could give you $1 million right now and you still say it costs too much. So you've got to work on that belief, and it won't work for me. Normally, I'd expect a lot higher percentage on that one, because that really is a fundamental thing that people tell themselves, that it won't work for me, that I'm different, I'm unique, I'm special. And then a lot of people, and you notice there that 36% of people are still saying I can wait. And for the people who clicked on, thank you by the way for being part of these surveys. For the people who clicked on I can wait, you'll notice that you've been saying that your whole life. And so I can wait. Guess what? The time is never going to be just right. The time will never be just right. And I believe the right time to take action is in the now, in the present moment, because the time really is never just right. One thing I learned from Wayne Dyer was that he set this sign up once, and the sign that he set up, he stuck it on the front of his desk, and the sign simply said, I'm allowed. I might get you to write that down somewhere, because I think that's a really fantastic frame that you can talk to your audience about. Just giving them permission, really granting them permission, let them know they're allowed. They're allowed to live an inspired life. They're allowed to make an income doing what they love. They're allowed to transform lives and do the things that they want to do most in life. I mean, they really are allowed to do these sorts of things. So just let your audience members know that they can be allowed to do and really take action and make an incredible transformation. So Being allowed to do things is one of the most fundamental areas of making a success as a speaker. Now I'm going to share with you truly one of the most phenomenal things you can learn when it comes to getting your message out there, and it's what's written on the screen right now. Put the process, not the person, on the pedestal. Put the process, not the person, on the pedestal. Too many people are out there saying, look at me, I've done this and I've done that and I can do this and look at how great I am, blah, 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 blah. And unfortunately, a lot of these people tend to have an American accent. Nothing against Americans. I love them dearly. I think they are fantastic at really big noting their successes. But when it comes to an Australian audience, we don't like that. It's simply uncool to talk about yourself. So the most success you'll have in an Australian market is by able to put the process, not the pedestal, put the process, not the person, on the pedestal. As in, when I work with people, we use a 5-step pro formula. So Jack DeLosa used the 5-step pro formula. Ari Galper used the 5-step pro formula. Mike Koenigs, I taught him the 5-step pro formula. When I was working with John Asraf, I was showing him the 5-step pro formula. When I was working with Lisa Sasevich, the Queen of the Invisible Clothes, I was showing her the 5-step pro formula. The formula is what works. It's not me that works. It's the formula. There's nothing special about me. I mean, I'm dyslexic. I've had chronic depression. I got broke. I got up to 130 kilos overweight. Seriously, I got... In fact, here's some evidence for you guys. This is me. Have a look at this. Is me at about 120 kilos, 116 kilos, 107 kilos, right on your screen right now. If you look in the top left-hand corner, I was so hungry that I ate that woman's face. But this is me. I've got many, many things wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Contrast with the picture you see down the bottom with the picture you see, and you can see the significant difference of shedding a few kilos. But you understand there's nothing unique about me. What's unique is our systems and our processes. That's what we put on the pedestal because that's what works. So when you're talking an audience, when you're talking to an audience, make sure you are edifying your process, not yourself. Talking about yourself all day long, no one wants to hear it and no one cares. Not only that, if you talk about yourself all day long, people will get the impression that it's all because you're unique. And once they make that impression, they won't want to buy or follow your actions because it becomes about being unique, not about following a system. And it's all about following systems. Actually, I just want you to have a listen to what this guy, Rowan Byrne, said. We showed him a system. Just listen very carefully to what Rowan has to say. He's a predominant guy who does property. He speaks from stage selling a lot of property. And just have a listen. I work with Rowan, and here's what he said.
Before I came to the program, I actually felt very lost with how to get my message and my content and my products out there. I've been doing quite a bit of speaking over the last year, and I'd actually started to direct my business away from speaking. Even though I've been generating a lot of business and a lot of clients from it, I just didn't feel like I could get my message across. And attending this program has given me amazing clarity, because it's given me a structure and a framework and a very specific 27-step process for presenting like a pro. And it's very refreshing to have this newfound certainty and enthusiasm for sharing my message from the stage.
That's what Rowan had to say, and it was really good working with Rowan because he was able to be molded and formed. And for those of you who know, Rowan's just recently started touring Australia now as a result of being able to present like a pro and follow the system and the formula. And he's really getting his message out there and making a huge impact. But for him, the biggest transformation was understanding and mastering that 27-step formula so he could really get his message out to the world. And you can too. There's no reason why you can't follow the same model. And it really is about following the model. That's really the important thing. You've got to follow the model. If you follow the model correctly and you follow, I mean, all pros use a formula. You know, if I haven't drilled that phrase anchor into you enough tonight, then I'm not doing my job. But all pros use a formula. And let's just have a look at some understanding of what speaking can do for you. Now, I'm not a financial advisor or a tax agent, and you know, these results only work if you actually go out there and take action. But here in Australia, if you want to do keynote speaking, sort of 45 to 60-minute keynote talks, the average keynote speaker out there earns $2,000 to $5,000 for that talk. That's on average. Now, if you get really good at that, and let's just say you're doing 2 of those talks a month, you could earn $50,000 a year doing 2 hours a month. $50,000 a year doing just 2 hours a month of speaking. And this is totally doable, right? This is totally achievable. People are doing this all over the place, and there's speaker bureaus and files you can register on. Top speakers, I just want you to know, though, top speakers out there are earning $10,000 to $350,000 an hour just to do a presentation. In fact, a good friend of mine, I recently got paid $35,000 to do a 1-hour talk for a communications company here in Australia. People like Richard Branson, for example, they'll get paid $350,000 for a 60-minute keynote. So you can really see the sort of money that's involved there. When it comes to selling trainings, though, you can look at how leveraged it can be. A lot of people out there do 1 to 7 day training programs, and on average, the training programs here in Australia for 1 to 7 day programs are somewhere between $2,000 and $10,000. But if you did the lower end of the scale, a 1997 program, and you sold 2 per month, again, that's $50,000 a year you're making by just finding 2 people a month to sign up for your programs. Obviously, that's hugely scalable. And I just want you to quickly have a listen. Here's a gentleman who was struggling. I just want to explain a little bit about Robert. He loves transforming lives. He's a healer. He wants to really help people. But he was struggling to get his message across. He was really bordering on bankruptcy. And he came and saw me, and I showed him some very simple strategies, which I'm going to share with you in a moment's time, some very simple strategies. And just listen to the results that he was able to get, talking to very small rooms. In fact, he was speaking to rooms of around 14 people. 14 people, that's it. That's all he had in the room. But have a listen to the results.
Now, I've had sales training from Anthony Robbins, Brian Tracy, Tom Hopkins, some of the best in the field, and I've learned a great deal. However, my sales and marketing have always been up and down until 2012. Since I've been working with Authentic Education and been coached by Ben Harvey, my sales have consistently taken off. I had one day of $26,000 in sales, another day of $56,000 in sales, and a third day this year of $65,000 in sales. I am very excited. I'm very grateful to Ben. His future looks very bright, and you absolutely must do this course.
So I just want to clarify again. I mean, this is $147,000 in 3 days, right? And he was like the $65,000 day that he had 14 people in the room. So you don't really need big audiences. You need a great message. You need a great offer. You need to come from integrity. You need to have pure intent in your energy, and then you've got to follow a model. I just want to check in with your belief system just for a second, though. I just want you to honestly answer this question. Be honest with yourself when you answer this question. Just click on the screen and really answer it as authentically as you can. The question is, do you truly believe you could make $100,000 in sales in a single day? Do you truly believe it? So you got yes, no, and I'm working on it. But just be honest. Do you feel or you still feel like, you know, I kind of believe other people can do it, and then up pops that boundary condition, it won't work for me. So just click on the screen. This is really important to just tune in and have a look here. And I'm just going to leave that poll open for another couple of seconds because this is really important to understand, because if you don't believe it to be true, you're going to have a lot of trouble doing this. And I see it time and time again. People who really just are gifted to bring a message to the world, and we show them a formula and a structure, and within a very short period of time, some of them in as little as 6 months. I mean, working with Ari Galper, I got him up to a $200,000 90-minute talk with him, and I was working with him for 3 months. So within a matter of 3 months, he'd done a double, over a 6-figure day, 200 grand in a 90-minute talk. So I'm just going to close up. We'll have a look at what we've got here. But it looks like, still more than half of you haven't formed that belief yet, which means that you're able to now start working on that. That's really the good news behind that. And we may run over by a couple of minutes, but I just want to thank you for staying tuned in, because I've got a lot of stuff that I still want to jam in. I hope you're getting value out of tonight. But just really work on that belief, because truly, if you honestly start to convince yourself that you can actually have 6-figure days and that you're worthy of it. In fact, write this down somewhere. I am worthy of a 6-figure day. I am worthy of a 6-figure day. And now, for those of you who know me, I don't have any financial targets. I don't write financial goals into any of my plans. Our company doesn't even have financial forecasts. We don't have any of that stuff. I just like to come from a place of integrity and focus on doing the deed. But the fact is, the results show up in the form of money. So what I worked out is that the more I served, the more money I was going to make. So I had to start working on my belief around money, because it wasn't just my desire to serve that's what mattered. What mattered was that I started to align myself to receiving, significant amounts of money. And a lot of people out there in the industry say, "I'm not telling you this to impress you, but to impress upon you." I don't know if you've ever heard that before. I think that's a load of rubbish. Everybody is telling you to impress you. No one's telling you anything to impress upon you. So something I guess I'm going to tell you now, and I'm quite humbled by it, but just recently I had the good fortune of doing a a tour that netted me just under $800,000. And I was also had the good fortune of recently doing a single day of $360,000 in sales. So, and I'm sure, I hope you're impressed by that, because I was quite impressed by it. But I have to tell you one thing: I really had to work on my worthiness in order to really understand what was going on there, because these figures were a mystery to me. You know, after I first got trained in speaking, it took me about I think it was 6 months before I did my first $70,000 day. And this blew my mind. I didn't believe that this was possible. I remember the first time I did a $26,000 day. You know, my whole world had fallen down around me. I couldn't understand, how did I just make $26,000 in 90 minutes? I couldn't comprehend what was going on. And now, really, you know, doing six-figure days and seven-figure tours is quite a natural thing. So you just want to realize that there's a reality out there that is beyond that. And when you go out there to share your message, the leverage and the numbers of people in the room, you're going to end up earning more money than you ever believed possible. It's just the way it works. And I know it's not about the money, but I'm just giving you some advice. Learn to align to it. Because if you don't align to the money, then your crowd won't respond to you, because you won't know how to receive their appreciation. And please write this down. Money is a gift of appreciation. Money is a gift of appreciation. So when people appreciate you, they will show you that by giving you money. So if you're not worthy of money, aka appreciation, then you're going to have a lot of trouble serving the world. So you've got to work on your money stuff. You really have to. And start to believe and understand that you can earn $100,000 in a day. You can earn $100,000 in 90 minutes. You know, as I said, my friend of mine, $1.4 million in 90 minutes serving people. You know, sharing his message, sharing his blessing. Now, the reason Robert was able to get such phenomenal results and Rowan was able to get such phenomenal results is because they follow the formula. All pros use a formula. And also, Robert had access to a vault that we actually use as well, which I'll explain a little bit more about that in a moment. But here's an example of the letter that I sent out. Sorry about the short notice, just to show you. I sent out a very simple email to get people in the room, and obviously the rooms just got bigger. I started to talk to more and more people. And if you look at this email, it's actually dated the 5th of the 11th, 2009. So I started my speaking career in November 2011. Sorry, November 2009. Hang in there, team. It's getting late. But November 2011. And obviously since then, you know, my first talk I had 24 people in the room. Then I had, it grew to 76, then 96 people. Then this is the first training I ever ran. And then the rooms just got, as you can see on the screen now, this is the very first training. Then the rooms got bigger and bigger. And obviously, in a very short period of time, using a formula, I was able to get to room sizes of 200, then 300, then 400, then 500, and then the rooms just got bigger and bigger. And obviously, you know, the rest is history. Here's a room of 700 people that I've been communicating with. So the system and the formula actually works, but you've got to realize that there is a way to accelerate that. There's a way to move rapidly forward in the direction of that which you want. And the best way to do that is to follow a formula, because just from one simple email in the 11th of, no, sorry, the 5th of the 11th, 2009, which, ladies and gentlemen, it's less than 3 years ago. So my growth has been exceptionally rapid for what I'm doing. It's because I modeled those 157 speakers. I extracted the top 20, then I extracted the top 3, and I worked out what they did. And this is what I teach people. I teach them exactly how to do that. In fact, a gentleman that you may know that, actually I just have a, by the way, if we're not friends on Facebook yet, please friend me on Facebook, Authentic Ben. I'm happy to be friends with you. But just have a listen to what John DeMartini had to say about the systems we use.
Hi, I'm Dr. John DeMartini. I've just had the opportunity to do a 4-city tour with Ben Harvey, and I've gotten to know him on a deeper level, talking with him, discussing things with him, and listening to him speak, and finding out all the plethora of information that he has to offer people that can change people's lives. He's a man like myself who's dedicated to transforming people's lives and giving them the best of the material to help them get where they really want to go in life. And without a doubt, the systems he's put in place and the information he's presented can change your life. And it can not only make a difference in your business and in your finance, but in you just saying, thank you, I get to do what I love today and I get paid for it. If you have not heard of Ben, find out about it. If you've heard of him, you already know about him. But whatever you do, take advantage of him. Learn everything you can from this man. He's a man on a mission, and he'll help you fulfill your mission.
So, I mean, for me, it's a real honor to have John saying those things about me. what he's really professing, though, he's not talking about me. He's talking about the systems that we use. You notice he used the word systems quite a lot. He was saying what he had to say about me. And it's because the formulas and the models we use really do work. And I guess the thing that I really want you to ask yourself is it your time to shine? I realize we're running over by a little bit. We've got about 5 minutes before we're meant to wrap up, but we'll probably run over just by probably 5 to 10 more minutes. And by the way, I'm going to answer all your questions at the end of this. So I'll stay online answering questions for as long as it takes. So yeah, we're going to do a little bit of Q&A at the end of it, and quite often people get a little value out of it. But I just want to find out truly, when is it that you want to start sharing? When do you want to share your message with the world? When do you want to truly step into this and really go out there and do that? Is it in the next 6 months? Is it in the next 6 to 12 months? What is it? What are you convincing yourself of? When do you want to do it? I'm just going to leave that poll up for a couple of seconds. But just really, when is it that you want to start really sharing your message and your blessing, your gift with the world? When do you want to start going out there, serving people, transforming lives, and getting paid handsomely well for it, getting the gift of appreciation transferred into your bank account for the service that you're delivering? And it looks like most of you are wanting to, in fact, it's about 81% of you want to do it in the next 6 months. What I'd like you to do right now is write down a date by which you are fully committed to sharing your message with the world. Write it down right now, a date by which you are fully committed to sharing your message with the world. I'm just going to close that up, and I'm just going to share that with you. So you can have a look there. It's about 81% of you want to actually do it within the next 6 months. 17% of you are going to wait a little bit of time, and then some are going to go for 18 months, which is good. You just got to get a by when date. You've got to be clear on when it is that you actually want to do that. Because really, I believe, your time to shine is right now. I see too many people out there with a great gift. I see too many people out there with a great idea, and they're just not going out there and sharing it. And I just want to thank you again for staying online, because I just have something very important I want to share with you. And it really does relate to the information that I've shared with you tonight. So it's just a matter of really respecting the content that you've learned tonight by staying online. So if it is your time to shine, I guess the main thing is to work out that we can help you do that. I've helped many, many people all over the world do this. I've helped speakers from all different walks of life, from all different industries, real estate, stock market, personal development, healing, therapies. I've helped tarot card readers, energy healers, crystal healers, Reiki practitioners, kinesiologists, business consultants, marketing experts. I mean, we've helped everybody to share their message clearly. And we've done that through a program called the Present Like a Pro program. And this really is a program where you can get inspired and truly find that message and that blessing. And what I'm about to show you, truly, ladies and gentlemen, is an opportunity to finally get out there and make an income and a living, making a difference, doing what you love. But the thing you need to work out is whether or not this program is for you, because it's definitely, it really isn't for everybody. It's not for people who don't want to obviously present to an audience. It's not for people who want to share a message that ends in a result. It's not for people who don't want to participate, who don't want to share their gifts with the world. It's really not for people who are just think they understand everything and they can do it all themselves. The people that we most resonate with are the people that have a message that's going to make a difference on the planet. There's no two things about it. So if you have a message that you feel is going to make a difference to people's lives and is going to improve the quality of their life, then you're going to resonate with our teachings. It's for people who want to finally get their script structured in a way that gets a result. It's for people who want to make money from sharing their message. It's from people who just want to present to a small room of people and get an impact from that. It's really for people who, like coaches, consultants, business owners, parents, anyone that has to present, I guess, an idea or a message. It's beneficial for you. But more importantly, it's the people truly who want to go out there and share a message that ends in people transacting at the end of that, as in actually selling something at the end of that message. They're the people who are going to get truly the most benefit. Everyone else is going to get benefit from it, but truly if you have a product or service you'd like to sell to an audience, it's really going to benefit you. It may just be an idea you're selling in the workplace, not for money, but just for buy-in of people doing that. And it's an implementation workshop. Unfortunately, I can't do your presentations for you, and a lot of the people I work with, I wish I could do that. Sometimes when I'm watching these train wrecks on stage doing all the wrong things, I quince at how many mistakes they're making, and I wish I could do their presentations for them. However, when they sit down with me and I run them through the formula, then obviously they're able to increase their results and whatnot. So one of the things, as I said, I can't do your talk for you, but what I can do is the next best thing. I can get you in a room, and for 4 solid days, we can tweak and modify and create a 90-minute presentation. And I want you to write down what I'm about to say in just a moment. Not yet, though. a 90-minute presentation that has one result. The result is that people actually take action on it. 90-minute keynotes are the hardest type of keynote for you to do. So they're the hardest type of keynote that you can actually do. And if you can get that up and running, then you become an asset to promotion companies. Because here's the deal. No one wants to hear your message unless you get a result from it. I repeat that. No one wants to hear your message unless you get a result from it. Promoters in the industry, like the big promotion companies here in Australia, they don't want to know you unless in 90 minutes you can get a result. So what we do is we train you to get that 90 minutes correct. I trained myself to get a result in 90 minutes, and now thanks to Global One, I'm now able to speak to thousands of people and share the stage with Dean Martini doing Australia-wide tours. It's because I was able to get a result in a 90-minute talk. So we train you up to get a result in a 90-minute talk. We perfect your keynote. But here's what I want you to write down. A 90-minute talk is not 90 minutes. A 90-minute talk is not 90 minutes. A 90-minute talk is 5 to 10-minute content chunks. A 90-minute talk is not 90 minutes. A 90-minute talk is 5 to 10-minute content chunks. So somewhere between 5 and 10-minute chunks of content that have impact. Because here's the thing. If you got up on stage and said, sorry, man, you've only got 45 minutes to talk, and you're like, but I've got a 90-minute talk, you'll be totally thrown off. If you learn correctly how to formulate a talk, you can take out modules, put them together, and you've still got a knockout 45-minute talk. So we'll show you exactly how to craft your talks completely correctly so you can actually deliver a result. Now, the program goes through a whole range of things. We show you how to orchestrate your outcome, which really means that when you get up on stage from now on, you'll have clarity in what you're saying. But what also means is you'll be gaining momentum. If you look at the photos I put up before, each one of them is gaining momentum. I went from 24 people to 76 people to 96 people to 200 people to 300 people to 500 people to 700 people. They were gaining momentum because I was learning how to orchestrate my outcome correctly. We'll also go through crafting your presentation. So a lot of people say to me, well, Ben, will I leave with a complete talk? Well, the fact is absolutely you will leave with a complete talk, but you'll leave with several talks because we'll show you the system for crafting so you'll actually learn the process of creating the pitch, creating your icebreakers, creating your jokes, your frames, I mean everything. But think of it now, if you can, 2 years from now, or even 6 months from now, stepping out and sharing your message so exquisitely crafted that every time you talk you get a result. I mean, what would that mean for you? Does it mean more money? Does it mean more time with your family? Does it mean more time to travel? Does it mean that you get the ability to, hang out with your friends more, or you got more free time? Or does it mean you can just quit your job already? We're going to show you exactly how to do the crafting so you get your message across. We're also going to show you how to embody your message at the deepest level. We're going to teach you all of the effective memory strategies so you can get up anywhere, anytime, and rattle off a 4-hour talk without once checking your notes. And what that means is that you now have an asset, a valuable asset that you can really use all over the world. We're also going to teach you that 27-step perfect pitch. And the 2 steps on either side of that. So we're going to show you the exact steps, exactly the 27 steps in correct order that you need to click those switches off so people take action on your ideas. We're going to embody it and memorize it at the deepest level. So by the end of the 4 days, you'll actually have every single one of those steps ingrained in your neurology, and you'll know them back to front and front to back. We're going to show you how to own the stage, everything about stage presence. Now, this is not a presentation course like Train the Trainers or NLP training. It's not about that. This program is designed to help you present like a pro. As in, present in a way that you get paid to present. Present keynotes that deliver financial gains. So we are showing you that. This is not Train the Trainer. This is not Toastmasters. This is not presentations, because there's none of that. This has one outcome, which is that you have incredible presentations that really get the benefits and the results that you're looking for. And obviously we're going to show you how to manage the business, the speaking gigs, how to get speaking gigs, but at the end of the day, this is a complete program, a business opportunity you're staring at right now, where I will be able to train you. And for those of you who don't know, a lot of the top speakers track me down when they arrive in Australia and do private consultations with them. And I charge these people anywhere between $10,000 to $20,000 a day to learn this information. That's right, I did say a day to learn this information. And we're going to give it to you at a fraction of the price, and you're going to get to share the experience with a group of other people. What I'd like you to do, though, is write down one of these 2 dates. Write down one of these 2 dates, October 18th to the 21st, or April 19th to the 22nd. These are just the next 2. We run this event generally about 3 times a year, although next year we're only doing it twice. But look at these events. Your registration is valid for 3 years, so you can register now and really attend any time in the next 3 years. But my advice is get into it straight away. The entire program, the 4-day program, it also comes with 6 months worth of support. The entire program is $5,997. Now, when you look at that price, you need to be thinking about the fact that it's a business opportunity. You're making an investment. I mean, I can show you how to just sell one training and make double that money back very, very easily. It's the sort of stuff that I showed Ari Galpa, that I've showed a lot of speakers around Australia, because people don't realize just how leveraged it is. So to invest $5,997 to just go out there and share your message and truly start making income, that is a very small investment. In fact, we set our entire business up, Authentic Education, with $11,000. That's the entire investment we made to set our business up, and it's now $1 million business. The other thing we're going to give you is we're going to give you a vault full of all the documents and information. Now that vault, if I was to put a price on it, I'd say priceless, but we used to sell it for around $4,000, and nowadays, we put a price on it of $2,000. But what's in the vault is everything you need: the event checklist, all the checklists, the marketing, the forms, everything you need to hand out at a seminar, the enrollment forms, everything you need to fill in, the types of gaffer tape to buy, the types of AV equipment, where to order it, where to book rooms, all your marketing, your emails. I mean, every single thing you need is inside this vault, and we're going to give that to you when you register. So you're not wasting your time trying to formulate tax invoices. You're not wasting your time trying to work out sales. There's even scripts there for phone calls, how to set up JV appointments, how to get people to email out for you, how to set up partnerships. It's got presentation materials. It's even got a PowerPoint in there that you can just enter your details in. A PowerPoint like you've been watching tonight, but one you can actually enter in, because this is, you notice I use a lot of photos and a lot of sort of web information. So this will show you how to do that. We'll give you all the presentation materials, proposals, how to send out proposals. I mean, it's a complete vault of every single thing you need to run a speaking business. And I don't want you this is thousands of hours of my life. I don't want you wasting time on it, because I really do want you out there sharing your message. So we're going to give you that. Imagine this, you don't have to set up one document, one legal thing. When you make phone calls, the scripts are already written. You just have to read them off. When you think about doing a joint venture, it's already done. When you want to do a PowerPoint inside your presentation, it's already done for you. You just change the wording and the pictures. I mean, it's all taken care of. And at the end of the night, when they go to sign up, all you got to do is print the forms off we've given you, and you've already got your enrollment forms. That's hours and hours of your life saved by using the information inside our vault. Now, if you do want to sign up right now, I'm going to do a fairly special deal for us tonight, because I know you've been hanging in there, and we've run over by about 6 minutes or so I do thank you for that. But what you can do right now, if you want to be in the first couple to sign up, because they're going to get the best deal, you can go to authenticeducation.com.au/PLP, so /PLP. I'm just going to put that up, authenticeducation.com.au/PLP. And basically, if you just go there, you can basically start signing up for that. But I just want to run you through some frequently asked questions just to have a listen into this, because a lot of people ask these questions, and you can basically find out what other people are actually asking quite often about the sorts of comments and concerns that come up with them. If you look down in that little chat box there, yeah, you can just see the link there. You can actually click on that. But here, just have a listen into some of these questions. This is what people often ask when you're at an event. And so you need to know what they are so you can actually work with them and deal with them. First one is, will it work for me? Yes, regardless of the area you're in, or career or industry, it'll definitely work for you. Is it all theory? Absolutely not. It's extremely experiential. You'll be presenting the very first day you arrive, and you're presenting all the way through the end. Do I need to know my topic or have previous experience or have spoken before? Absolutely not. We'll show you how to present like a pro using the formula from start to finish. Whether you're a seasoned veteran at presenting or you've just begun, I work with everyone, from beginners, never spoken before, all the way up to obviously John Asrafs and professionals who've been speaking many, many years. The system works on everyone regardless of it. Will I walk out with a finished presentation? Absolutely. You'll actually work out with many finished presentations, and if you want to run a workshop, you'll walk out with a complete workshop as well. It's not like Train the Trainers. It's not like NLP. It's none of those things. It's a program to help you present like a pro. What if I don't have a product or own a business? You'll walk out with a product design. So we'll actually create an irresistible offer in the program so you can see how to offer people the right offer. I know that 38% of you said that you didn't have the right offer at the beginning of this talk. Where is it? It's actually based here in Sydney. So for those of you interstate, good news is you're going to get to travel here and hang out in hotel rooms and spend some time socializing, getting out of your daily grind. For those of you who live here in Sydney, unfortunately, you're just going to have to get a hotel room here if you want to get that same experience. But for interstaters, you absolutely get to travel. It's from 10 a.m. till 7 p.m. in the city. You can absolutely pay it off. People always ask, can I pay it off? Yes, you can. You can put down a deposit and pay it off over time. We've got different payment options for that, so you can definitely do that as well. Wendy, and by the way, the deposit tonight is $450, so you can get started straight away, as in right now. You can jump on authenticeducation.com.au/PLP, and if you're in the first 8, you're going to get the best deal, but you can get started for $450, because I know you know, people don't always want to pay for it all up front or whatnot. When do you get all the bonuses? You get them after attending. I really want to do this, but I don't have the money. What I recommend you do is jump on the page and register your details anyway, and someone from our office will call you. So if you have special circumstances like, you know, visas, travel, age, or you want an idea or whatever, just register anyway. And there's people often say to me, Ben, I'm really busy, I'm not sure if I can do the course. Well, the good news is we actually give you a re-attendance pass. You can actually re-attend the course for absolutely nothing. So we're going to give you a re-attendance pass, 6 months worth of group coaching and mentoring with me. So, you know, you can do a couple of presentations, dial in and ask me questions. We're going to give you 6 months worth of email support as well. So you can do your presentations and send me videos and we can critique those. So for 6 months we're going to be working with you. So you can actually re-attend it. So my advice is do the course now and then just come back and do it again. And people often ask, you know, how long do I have to wait before deciding? Well, ladies and gentlemen, you can wait to the end of your life. But tonight we're going to give you a special offer to sort of help you out with that. The other thing is we've got a no-hassle guarantee, which basically means you can sign up for the course, do the entire program, and go home, and then the next day after the program is finished and you've got all the bonuses, if you weren't happy with the course, just send us a one-line email and we'll refund all of your money. So you can attend the whole training, because I guess the only way to know whether or not the training's right for you is to attend it and then, you know, just see if you liked it. So we want to take the risk out, which means you can attend the whole course, and obviously you don't have to, you know, if you didn't like it and then you've attended the whole program, then we'll give you a refund, because I don't want anyone's money who didn't want to give it to me. That is absolutely for sure. So the entire program, everything involved with the master classes and the vault of all the documents, the 4 days of working in your workshop, learning the presentation skills, mastering the 27-step process. I believe it's worth 147 million plus change, but really it all comes down to it's about $11,000, you know, just under $12,000 worth of value. But if you sign up tonight, we're also going to give you your own video camera. So we are going to give you one of those video cameras so you can start videotaping your presentations, so that as you're presenting over that 6 months, I can critique those videos for you and really help you out with that and really give you some time to really critique your presentation. So we're going to give you that as well if you sign up tonight. The whole thing is just under $12,000 worth of value. I'm going to give you a very special offer in just a moment, so thank you for hanging in there. What you need to do, though, is you need to go to this page and register your details. So when you go to Authentic Education, and just down there in the chat box, you can actually click on that link there and it should take you straight through to the page that you need to go to. But Authentic Education, all you've got to do is fill your details in there and just click Book My Seat. And as I said, if you have any questions about deposits or anything at all, then you can basically we'll give you a call up. But here's what's going to happen. All I want you to do is I just want you to tune into your heart. I know we've run over by a little bit, and I thank you for being patient. We've only had about 2 people drop offline. The rest of you have hung in there, so I thank you for staying online, because I think in your heart you know that you have a message to share, and I am certain that we have the formula to assist you with that. I'm absolutely certain that we can assist you to share that message. But just tune into your heart and really just put your hand on your heart and really tune in and work out, you know, is there something for me to learn here? Do I have a message to share? And as you're doing that, I just want to just quickly tell you about a lady called Sue Lester. She's up in Brisbane. She's a coach. Here's what she said. I now have a business structure to work within and clearer goals, and the difference that has made is remarkable. My workshops and speaking gigs are increasing both in quantity and quality. 18 locked in already, and it's only January. I worked with Sue in October the year before, and she had 18 speaking gigs by January. Now I can sell with integrity. They consistently now I can sell with integrity. They consistently result in more quality clients. Here's something that Sean Rasmussen, Aussie Internet Marketer, said. Just keep tuning into your heart. Is this right for me? Can I learn how to share my message? Here's what Sean Rasmussen said. I spent 2.5 days with Ben Harvey learning how to sell from stage. The result was astounding. I know I have good products, and now I can get the same picture across to the people in the crowd. Result, 6-figure sales on a good day. Look up the word happy in the dictionary, and there's a picture of me. It's been an absolute pleasure working with Ben, and I can highly recommend that you invest time to spend with Ben, Sean Rasmussen, Aussie Internet Marketer. I mean, I've got hundreds of these to read out to you, but I just want to get to what's going on here. Here's what I'm going to do. For the first 8 people, and only the first 8 people, and we've actually already had 2 people register. Thank you for being keen. Looks like Jenny Marks, thank you, Jenny. And Steve, sorry, Steve, I can't pronounce your last name. No apologies. It looks like it's a Frenchish name. But Steve, thank you for registering. So there's 6 positions left. It's for the first 8 people. Here's what we're going to do. I'm absolutely going to do it as easy as possible for you. You can do the entire thing paid in full for $3,997. But what you need to do right now is jump on www.authenticeducation.com.au/PLP, and you must enter right now. Now, if you can't pay in full, you can put down a deposit of $450, and the payment plan is actually more expensive. So the payment plan works out at $4,500. So you are actually paying more to go on the payment option that we have available. My advice is just pay in full. It's a business opportunity to really get your message out there, and you're really going to learn exactly how to get your message out there so it really makes a difference and an impact in people's lives, so that, and really get out there sharing your gift and your blessing with people. So what you need to do right now, I'm going to be answering the questions in a moment, so thank you for hanging in there because we've got quite a few questions that people have asked. But you need to go with right now, jump on that, reserve your seat, just put your name and details in there, and just make the decision. Because $3,997 is a ridiculous price for 4 days of complete implementation, walking out with a ready-made product that you can present anywhere, anytime, and generate income from that, and then 6 months of ongoing support where I group coach you for 6 months every month. We send out masterclasses. We give you the entire vault of all the documents. I mean, this is one of the greatest business opportunities you can get, and for this price, it truly is a no-brainer for you to take action on that. As I said on the screen there's all the bits and pieces you're going to get there. You're going to, obviously, if you sign up tonight, you're also going to get the video camera as well. But make sure you're in the first 8, so please register right now, because I can't stress to you just how valuable this is going to be. I mean, the vault, I'd be happy selling you the vault for $4,000, truly. With the information that you're going to get in that vault from setting up a speaking business, I would truly be happy selling you that for $4,000. But you're also going to get, as I said, the 4-day workshop, the 6 months, and everything included. But what it means for you is you're going to leave as a confident speaker. What it means for you is you're going to be able to present in any environment. What it means is if you get an opportunity for 5 minutes to present to a networking function, you'll know exactly what to say. What it means is if you go to an event and a speaker is sick and they yell out to the audience, who here would like to speak today, you'll have something to communicate. You'll have something to share straight away. You'll have something to do. By the way, here's what I'm going to do. I know that 3 people now have already signed up. I know some people are still processing and tell by what's going on the system there. For everyone who signs up tonight, actually not for everyone, only for the first 8, I should take that back. Only for the first 8, I'm going to give you a private one-on-one consultation as well, but you must register right now. I don't do these anymore. You know that I don't do one-on-one consultations. If you work with me, I have to work with you for a period of 12 months, really, and I do that on an application process. But for those of you who sign up tonight, I'm going to gift you a one-on-one consultation valued at $1,000. It'll be me and you, one-on-one, working on your presentation. So for you, those of you who sign up right now, and all you got to do is click on the link down in the comments box, or go to the web page and just fill your details in. So just to clarify what's going on here, you're going to get the 4-day implementation workshop, you're going to get the 6-month support, you're going to get the webinars, you're going to get the email support, you're going to get the group coaching and mentoring. If you're in the first 8, you'll also get a one-on-one consultation with me, and you're getting all of that for $3,997 when you pay in full, or you can put down a deposit. My advice is make the commitment. You jumped on this phone call for a reason, and I believe it was to learn how to start selling your message to an Australian audience. Because here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, if you can master an Australian audience, you can master any audience. I'm going to repeat that. If you can master an Australian audience, you can master any audience. Because Australian audiences have been known to be some of the toughest in the industry. And I'm going to show you exactly how to work your magic so with integrity you can share your message and get a real outcome, both financially and from a level of fulfillment. And, you know, I'm definitely not blowing my own trumpet here, but I have been doing this for a long time, and I really have been able to help a lot of people share their blessing and make a difference by showing them the formulas and the 27-step process that we use. So my advice is sign up for that. So I'm going to be answering some questions for you right now. But what you want to do is jump off right now, go to the website, and just enter your details. This really is an exquisite opportunity. You're going to get that one-on-one session with me if you are in the first 8. And even if you can't afford to put the deposit down, just enter your details in right now so that someone can actually give you a call. Because I just want you to imagine 2 years from now, you're speaking from a platform, you're making 6-figure days, you're living your own, you're living hours your own terms, but more importantly, you've got your life back. You're doing what you were born to do. You're sharing your gift and your blessing with the world. What would that mean out there 2 years from now? And just clearly see it. See yourself walking on the stages, feeling comfortable, certain, confident. And see audience members responding. See people up the back of the room signing up for your products and services. See people wanting nothing more than to hear from you, to learn from you. And really, That's a life you're allowed to have. Believe in it. And it's not about having six-figure days. I mean, even if you just earn $1,000 a day, that's an incredible income, truly. But I just know the leverage capacity of where this goes, and really the sky is not the limit. The sky is never the limit. So anyway, what I'm trying to get across here, ladies and gentlemen, is it's your time to shine, and you deserve to shine. So what I would ask you to do is basically go to that URL, authenticeducation.com.au/PLP. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start answering some questions here, because we've got some questions that people have been asking. So we're just going to go through those and have a look at them. Let's have a look here. So here we go. By the way, thanks for hanging on. We've still got about 90 people or so online. Jump in quickly. While I'm reading these questions, I can't tell how many people are signing up anymore. I just want to get back into answering some questions for you. I'm having trouble asking for, here we go. Here's a question from Lisa. I have trouble asking for people to pay for my product. Sounds weird. People ask questions about the cost and I feel embarrassed to talk about it. How do I get over it and feel good about people paying for my product? That's a really great question. Here is the answer to that question. The answer to the question is you've got to set your price at a price you feel most comfortable and aligned to. So when I set my price point for my products, I make sure that in my body I feel congruent with that. So make sure if you're having trouble selling the price to people, my advice is lower the price, because you're just not in alignment with it. It's not about the money. People just don't get this. It's not about the money. It's about getting your message out to the world and getting it clear so that people can actually understand what it is that you're doing. So it's not about the money. So if you're having trouble, Lisa, asking for money, drop the price. Or even do it for free, but just get better experience from that. Someone asked, will I send the notes to the webinar? Unfortunately, no, I won't. How do you work on your memory technique? Louise, my advice is Google memory techniques. Come along to Present Like a Pro. We teach you 3 of the best memory techniques for photographic memory and remembering anything. And at the end of the program, you'll actually have those memory techniques wired into your mind, and you'll be able to use them for everything. Being dyslexic, I had to develop new techniques of memorizing things because I couldn't read, so I couldn't study like everyone else, so I had to develop new memory strategies. I'm going to show you those memory techniques. Hey, thanks, Lisa. Guru Pipka. Thanks, Lisa. I'm glad you're on. Lisa's dialed all the way in from Perth. Here we go. And it's 6 a.m. Daniela, dialed in from 6 a.m. Thank you so much for dialing in. Let's get to some questions. A handy webinar tip, maybe. Have a straw to drink water. Let's have a look here. All right, so someone said here, Anne's just said, I don't agree that I don't have money as a belief system. Sometimes we really don't have money. Sometimes we have to budget and wait for things. I want to do your courses, but I don't have the money right now. But when I have it, I will. So to clarify between excuses and reality. Okay, and this is a really great point. I thank you for raising this. So someone just said here, I don't agree that I don't have the money is a belief system. Sometimes we really don't have the money. Sometimes so you understand what it is. Someone's saying, what's the difference between belief and reality? Well, here's the simple fact. I know that if I kidnapped, and they use this example all the time, but very few people listen to it, and I want you all on this line right now to hear what I'm saying, because very few people actually get what's being said here. If I kidnapped somebody you loved and said you would never see them again unless you give me $10,000 in the next 25 minutes, I guarantee you will find that $10,000. Whether you are flat broke, living in a trailer or not, you will find that $10,000. So my question then becomes, where did that $10,000 come from? Because prior to that, you had a belief that you didn't have any money. You had a belief that you had to budget for things. So what I'm trying to work out is how come when I kidnap someone important to you, you immediately find the money? Why? Is because you have a belief. You have a belief that says, I don't have the money. So what I want you to get out of this concept, truly get this, is that you need to make the things in your life more important. You can look in the bank account and see no money. I looked in the bank account and I saw 130 grand of no money. But the belief that I convinced myself of is that I can do this. I'm allowed to sign up for this. I'm allowed to do this thing. So, and absolutely, I'm going to categorically disagree with what you've said here. And I'm going to say that I don't have the money is absolutely a belief system. Whether you physically have the resources in your bank account or not, it is a belief that you don't have money. Because I know that I could take from you something very important and you would find the money in a matter of moments. So my question then becomes, where was the money prior to that? And I'll tell you where it was. It was stuck inside your belief systems. Now, I just want to be totally straight about this because a lot of people continue to convince themselves about things that aren't true. And things that aren't true are things that you need to be working on consistently. No two things about that. By the way, we've just had someone ask me a question. Can I bring my partner along? Yes, you absolutely can bring your partner along. No two things about that. By the way, if you are bringing along your partner with it, is it okay if I have multiple action steps? So someone asked if my talk, is it okay? Not really. You want to just have one action step. Thanks, Belle. She's like, I'm killing it. Thank you. Someone just asked if they can swap a program. Best thing to do, Carol, is just have a chat with our office about swapping programs and whatnot. This is the same course I'm registered for. Rick, I'm not sure. Give our office a call, Rick, on Monday. No, this one doesn't have a website. So the one you registered for, this is not a website course. This is a presenting course. Do you have this program to participate online? Daniela, unfortunately, we don't have it online because of the interactive nature. It's all about experiencing it at a body level. Hey, Jerry, thanks for registering, buddy. You definitely are in the first 8, mate. I'll let you know that up front. I'm booking airfares. What's the start and end times? Richard, the start time is 10 a.m. The end time is 7 p.m. each day. So we start at 10 a.m. so you can actually sort of sleep in the morning, and we finish at 7 p.m. because that's about as much as your brain can handle. My advice is you can definitely fly in the morning. It'll be an early flight for you though, and you can fly out on the last flight in the evening. So yeah, you can definitely fly out. I hope that answers your question, Richard. So 10 till 7. Russ, when are you going to deliver this? Russ, mate, who knows? Maybe I'll be coming to London soon, buddy. Keep your fingers crossed. Who knows? But for now, Russ, you know I'm only doing it here in Australia. Here we go. We usually people are comfortable to sell others' products. Oh, here, that's a great question. Daniela just said we're normally comfortable selling other people's products. Why is that? I'll tell you why it is. It's because we have way too much emotional attachment and worthiness issues around people valuing what we do. So our biggest problem is valuing ourselves in life, and if we don't value ourselves, then we don't value our products. So what I actually, Daniela, just in answer to your question, one of the things I actually tell people to do is when you're selling someone else's product, what I recommend is imagine you're actually, when you're selling your own product, I recommend pretending you're selling someone else's product. So when I first started speaking, I imagined the training programs I was selling was someone else's. I imagined they were either Chris Howard's or T. Harv Ekers or Tony Robbins or Deepak Chopra's or Wayne Dyer's. And I get on stage fully convinced that Wayne Dyer had hired me to sell his training program. And I find that that was a really great way of being inspired to overcome my worthiness issues about valuing what it is that I'm sharing with the world. And as I got more and more inspired by seeing the results people got from our programs, then I started to get the value back up. Hey, Tonya, just fill in the details, and if you can put down the deposit, you can certainly finalize it tomorrow. So you can put down a deposit today, Tonya, then we can call you up and we can work out how to finalize it. If you fill in the details and click through, then we can definitely give you a call tomorrow. And just make sure that it goes through. But yeah, basically the best thing you can do, hands down, is to allow yourself to just imagine that you're selling someone else's services. Actually, Lisa just said great analogy. Elisa, can you tell me which analogy you like? Because I'd love to just take note of it. Ben, here you go. If you're selling a physical product, how do you sell a quality of it if your price is higher than the opposition who is lower? Ben, that's very, very easy. It's done with using what's called contrastive analysis. Now, see, what a lot of people don't realize is because I live in Australia, a lot of people are learning how to sell from stage from Americans. But here's the funny thing. A lot of Americans come out here and fail miserably. Now, a lot of Americans out there, and I'm not having a bashing of American speakers, but what I am saying is the most effective way to learn is by learning from people who've grown up here in Australia. So that is an example, Ben, of doing contrastive analysis. I've just contrasted American speakers to Australian speakers and really shown you the differences between them. Now, if you're selling a physical product that's of a higher quality and your price point is higher than the opposition, then you should point out that your opposition's price is lower. And I would say something like, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You can actually get a product like this at a much lower price, but what I need to tell you is that the quality is not going to be anywhere near the same as what I offer. And it's not just the quality of product, it's the quality of service and it's the quality of delivery and the way that I work with you. So, Ben, my advice is highlight why your price is higher and make sure that people really understand what's going on with that. Yeah, Rosalind, at the Present Like a Pro, you'll actually leave with I think it's a 160-page manual of resources, so you'll basically be able to attend the program and go over it time and time again ever since. Carol, I just do want to let you know you are in the first 8 as well. I just thought I'd let you know that. I still don't agree. We used to have money, so that's fine. All right, that's fine. And if you're still not open to the idea, that's fine. My advice is just to open up your mind to the concept and see what you can get from it. Because I've just someone's just sent here that they lost all their money, and I realise that does happen, and I realise that the people, I understand the fact that people do have issues and whatnot. What I'm trying to point out, Anne, is I'm trying to explain to you in the clearest possible way that I'm really attempting to tell you and everybody else on this call, because there's still about 60 people that are sitting there. So I don't know what you're doing. Haven't you got lives to live? No, I'm kidding. By the way, if you haven't signed up yet or registered, please do register now at that URL there that's on the screen. But here's the thing that I really want to get across to everyone online. It's not about whether you're broke or not. It's not about whether you have money or not. What I really want to share with you, it's not about signing up for this program. I want to teach you something about life. And here is how it works. Life works like this. Whatever you deem to be important, you are going to find the resources to satisfy that. So if you find that it's important, and listen carefully to what I'm about to say, if you find that it's important to go around telling people that you don't have money, then you're going to continue manifesting not having money because your mind believes it's important to keep the story and to keep the understanding that you have an identity around being broke. Now, if you were to go out there and show your mind that it's far more important to share your gift with the world, you'll start to find resources. I was recently working with a lady, her name's Sharon, and she was struggling to get a speaking business off the ground. She had no money. She was an entrepreneur. She was struggling to pay her bills. Everything was going backwards. But the problem is she had formed an identity around struggling. So it was far more important for her to stay broke because her identity was about how hard life is, how much of a struggle life is, how I don't have the money for this and I don't have the resources for that. I got Sharon, and she actually did it. I couldn't believe it. She actually did it. I got Sharon to write down 500 reasons why gaining more customers is important and beneficial to her new identity. 500 reasons why gaining more customers is important and beneficial to gaining her identity. She was sitting out watching the ocean here in Sydney. She got up to 420 reasons, and her mobile phone rang, and there was a client on the other end of the phone booking her for a speaking gig. Within 48 hours from then, she had 12 more people call her. This is a phenomenal result of understanding how the universe works. I mean, we can all profess that we've read, law of attraction books, and we can all profess that we understand manifestation. But here's the deal. If you haven't worked out that resources come from the things that are most important to you, then you haven't really cracked the game yet. So what I'd really like you to do is I'd like you to inspire you to realize that you live in an infinite world of infinite resources. There is no such thing as being broke. There's just being unresourceful. So what I inspire everybody on this call to do is make whatever it is in your life that's important, make it important. List right. Really clarify the reasons why you want to do things. And as a result of that, you'll absolutely allow yourself to start finding the products and resources that are absolutely capable of doing this. And so I really hope that I hope that may have answered your question, Anne, because as I said, I'm not really trying to pick a fight with anyone. What I'm trying to do is really explain how the world works, and how the world works is by finding things that are important. Tonya, yes, sign up, Tonya, absolutely. And Tonya, based on the message, I'm just going to say yes to you, Tonya. I know what you've just written down. I'm just going to say yes to you. So please just fill it in, and absolutely, I will definitely honour that. Just because you sent me an email prior to that actually occurring. So yes, I'll say yes to that. So please just register right now for that. And by the way, if you haven't done it already, please just jump online. And as I said, I hope I've really clarified this point. What I've absolutely learned is I kept getting locked in belief systems about being unresourceful until I realised I could have anything I wanted in life, and by making it as important as possible. And Jane, yes, I will be at the Game Changer. I'll be definitely there. So look forward to seeing you there as well. Here we go. Love the webinar. Thanks, Richard. I'm glad you got value out of it. Would love to. I've heard. Yeah. I'm going to have to try and find a date for you, Richard. That's not when you're doing Ironman. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap it up there. If there's no other questions, I really hope you've had fun. My advice is right now, jump online. By the way, you're still going to get that special price if you jump online. You're just not going to get the bonus of the 1 hour consultation if you're not in the first 8. I haven't been able to check my screen yet to see how many have come through. But what I want to do is, as I said, just please jump online and register for this program. You'll love it. It's 4 days and 6 months worth of incredible learning that will get you out there confidently presenting and making an impact and a difference. And there's nothing I love more in my career than seeing people find that confidence to go out there and share their message and realize that they are worthy of earning, $100,000 in a day, that they are worthy of having 6-figure incomes by working less hours. I really love. Thanks, Tonya. I look forward to seeing you at the course. It's going to be fantastic. By the way, you do get a manual, you get a whole lot of prep work, but as I was saying, the one thing that I truly love more than anything else is really seeing people out there share their message. I think it's the most incredible gift you can get, and one of the proudest moments for me is when I get to see our students hit the platform with real power, real certainty, share their message, and start to earn what they're truly worth. And I believe everyone on this call is worth an infinite sum of money, and there's no greater way of finding what you're worth than getting out there and sharing your message with people. So I really hope you got value out tonight. I hope you've learned a lot. I hope you got the understanding around making things important. And I hope you got the understanding about not ever allowing yourself to believe that you don't have the resources. It's always about resourcefulness. As a dear friend of mine used to say, Chris used to tell me all the time, it's never a question of resources. It's only a question of resourcefulness. It's never a question of resources. It's only a question of resourcefulness. So my advice is learn to get far more resourceful in life, and you'll start to realize that you're living inside belief systems that can be broken anytime you want. I look forward to seeing you at the Present Like a Pro program. For those of you who've signed up, I thank you for that. And for those of you who are in the webinar, thank you so much for dialing in. And until we meet again, share your light, live your love, and do whatever it takes to be your own best friend. I look forward to seeing you all sometime very, very soon. And if you haven't done so already, please register authenticeducation.com.au/PLP. This offer will expire at the end of tonight. You'll still be able to get on for $3,997, but make sure you jump on and do that now. I look forward to speaking with you all soon. Have a great evening, and ciao for now.